It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: offer made for Buckinghamshire School, Hert's peer urges Lord Sewell to leave the Lords, and families' anger after death at Stevenage Hospital.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
An 11th hour offer has been made to buy a Buckinghamshire special school threatened with closure. Penn School near High Wycombe is set to close at the end of the month and is being run by administrators. Parents who have criticised the role of the school's trustees met with the head teacher last night. Head Mary Richardson told our reporter Justin Dealey that an offer is on the table.
According to a meeting that we had with Deloitte's, telephone conference with Deloitte's this morning, we were told that there are still 6 interested parties, but only one offer. And that's being negotiated at the moment.
So an offer has been made and they've got until Friday to come up with the money?
Yes, basically. That's right.
Evidence has been removed from a central London address used by Lord Sewell. Police are investigating the peer over claims he snorted cocaine with prostitutes. He says he won't return to the Lords until inquiries are completed. Baroness Sal Brinton from Hertfordshire is president of the Liberal Democrats. She wants Lord Sewell to leave over derogatory comments he allegedly made about Asian women.
He, of all people, as chairman of that committee, holding the rest of us to account for our standards, for him to speak in such a racist and sexist way is just not on, and he should go.
A senior manager in the NHS from Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge has spoken of his frustration at having to recruit large numbers of nurses from abroad. Figures from the UK's nursing regulator show the recruitment of overseas staff is rising, with most foreign nurses now coming from other parts of the European Union. Legal experts say a landmark Court of Appeal ruling in favour of a Hertfordshire woman has dealt a major blow to the rights of people to choose who they want to leave money to in their wills. Heather Eilert from Ware has been awarded £164,000 from the estate of her mother, even though she clearly stated she didn't want Mrs Eilert to get a penny. The family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. Its niece Leslie Dean and her husband Keith say both doctors and nurses didn't even read her file, which set out her disability needs. More from Tony Fisher.
Lawyers for the family say the coroner's findings recognises that multiple failings in Eileen's care contributed to the cause of her death. They add it's hugely disappointing that patients with learning disabilities are more likely to suffer avoidable deaths than those without a learning disability. The Trust has apologised to Eileen's family for the failings in her care and says it is now trialling a new electronic observation system on their wards.
A lorry driver was released by firefighters after his vehicle overturned on the roundabout at junction 14 of the M1 at Milton Keynes last night. The emergency services were called just before 9 p.m. In sport, the pre-season football friendlies continue this evening. Watford make the trip to Wales to play Cardiff. Milton Keynes host Spanish side Getafe in their first friendly at Stadium MK. Luton host Brentford and Wycombe are away to Basingstoke. The weather: a cloudy start, sunny spells later, still the risk of a shower, a maximum temperature 19 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Well, we know where we're going, but we don't know where we've been. And we know what we're knowing, but we can't say what we've seen. And we're not little children, and we know what we want. And the future is certain. Give us time to work it out. We're on a road to nowhere.
Come on inside.
Taking that ride to nowhere. We'll take that ride. a fool of you, and it's alright. Baby, it's alright. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride, and it's alright. A little bit faster now. A little bit faster now. No, it's very far away, but it's growing day by day, and it's alright. A little bit faster now. A little bit faster now. They can tell you what to do, but they'll make a fool of you, and it's alright. A little bit faster now. A little bit faster now. Wait a minute. We're on a road to nowhere. Way-oh. We're on a road to nowhere. Way-oh. We're on a road to nowhere. Way-oh. We're on a road to nowhere.
Oh man, how I love the Young at Heart chorus. You enjoy that, Just?
I absolutely loved it.
Maybe we'll get their version of Staying Alive later on as well. There's a double album of that nonsense. Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Big show this morning. And when I say big, I mean same old, isn't it? Hey, Kels has turned up for work.
Hey, player.
Shags has turned up for work.
Hello.
Dealey's turned up for work.
Geezer.
Catherine Boyle's turned up for work.
Hey, mate, how's it going?
That's called bullying, and Chris Evans made a career out of it. Let's have this, yes.
Across
Nails.
beds, hearts and bucks.
Now,
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nowsers. Later on this morning, Justin.
Yes.
I've got a lot of I've got two things to talk about in the show. And I think we did this, right? Did we do this? Men that sing like girls.
No.
Okay. I want to do a thing. See if you got men that sing like girls. Because they had Wally Webb. I would love a contract like Wally Webb. He takes more holiday than work.
What a guy.
What a geezer. He's played the system to his advantage. I've turned it. There we go. So, he was playing, what's that rubbish band? Hello,
Bee Gees.
No, well, there's one.
we'll have what,
We'll have that. Obviously, Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Bobby Darin, maybe?
Give me an example of Bobby Darin singing like a girl.
Whenever I've heard his songs, he does sound like a bit of a girl.
Jackson 5.
Yeah, thank you very much
Yeah,
indeed.
good
You're
one,
welcome.
But he
Yeah.
was young, to be fair.
You're
Are we talking geezers who sound like girls, or just boys who sound like girls? I'm getting confused
I've
here.
never seen Justin with such a serious face in my life.
It's like my music man.
But even when he was a man, he sang like a girl.
I would debate that. Oh! No. It was manly for me. Oh! Still manly.
The Stylistics.
Yes.
What is that? That's not even like a nice singing girl. That is like a horrible... I never got the Stylistics.
Great, unique sound.
Sam Smith.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah,
So I'll give you
yeah.
Smitty.
When Disclosure went to work with him, little fact, they thought it was a she.
Oh, really?
They were like, oh yeah, we're going to go meet
I don't know
her.
what Disclosure is. That's great.
Thanks.
Queen, Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Would often sing like a lady.
I like this a lot.
This is a good... Right,
Yes.
so this is the vote. 03459 4555. I give out the phone number. They don't call in. I'm ever the optimist. So we're talking about that. And also, I'm going to send you to the streets on this. Am I the only person in the country that feels bad for Lord Sewell? He's the fella who got caught doing a little bit of the old, with a couple of the old, can I pay you for that? Whilst wearing a little bit of an old leather jack and a red brassiere.
brassiere,
And he
yeah.
is, I feel sorry for the guy. I feel genuinely sorry for the guy.
I don't condone him taking drugs. However, if you went through every single person's home, there would be a picture somewhere of you doing something wrong.
No, there wouldn't.
No, there would. No, there would.
necessarily
There
be.
would.
There would. I think we've got to do this, Penn Scott. We'll continue this conversation
This is
earlier on
fact.
because it's not fact because some people don't take photos of that stuff.
Other people do.
Some people don't do it, just to say.
Exactly. Right, we'll come back to that a little bit later on, because I 03459 455 555. Penn School. The big story we've been following. Parents at Penn School have been... Now, this is where it's very confusing, so bear with us. They've been told that an offer has been made to save the school. The head teacher told parents at a meeting that of the 6 interested organisations, 1 has come forward and they've got until Friday to put up the money. Justin, you were at the meeting in Penn last night. What is the latest, please?
Yeah, I was there last night with the parents. The administrators, Deloitte, were not present at the meeting at the school. And the trustees, were they there at the meeting? No, of course they weren't. But Mary Richardson, the head teacher, she spoke to me after the meeting last night, and she told me about this offer for the school.
According to a meeting that we had with Deloitte, telephone conference with Deloitte this morning, we were told that there are still 6 interested parties, but only 1 offer. And that's being negotiated at the moment.
So an offer has been made, and they've got until Friday to come up with the money?
Yes. Basically, that's right. The word that she used was that talks were progressing.
You must be delighted with that.
I'm certainly very happy. It's given us a lot of hope, and we're just hoping that on Friday a firm offer will be accepted.
Your communication with the trustees this year, how would you describe your communication with the trustees this year?
The trustees have been speaking more to Deloitte. I haven't felt included in those discussions. When prospective buyers were brought to the school, I wasn't included. I wasn't asked to show them around or anything like that.
And you're the head teacher?
I'm the head teacher, yes. They may have their own reasons for that. But again, you'd have to ask them.
But they won't talk to us.
That's right.
A bit like they won't talk to you.
No. They're not talking to me either, no.
Right, 2 things. We had another email from Kerry McLeish, who's one of the trustees, saying they weren't going to come on the show. And Sophie Solari, our reporter, phoned up Hugh, who's another one of the trustees, to ask if he would come on the show. She spoke to his wife, and his wife said, I'll find out. Hugh, there's a phone call for you. Hugh Forsyth, right? And Hugh said, who is it? BBC Three Counties Radio. I've got no interest in speaking to them. That's the conversation.
It's incredible.
I'll read out an email later on. I wrote an email to is it Kerry? I'm saying is it Kerry?
It was to Kerry. Yeah.
I wrote an email begging her, literally begging her to come on.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Literally begging. I'll read that out a bit later on. But sorry, just to go back on the point. So the headmistress there is saying that the school has received an offer. I've got an email from the administrators, Deloitte, from last night, 7:08. Nothing has been sold to any third party, nor is any of the land or buildings under offer. So mixed signals.
Mixed signals, but Mary, again, fair play to her. She was there last night to face the parents.
Yeah.
And that conversation that she had was with Deloitte, the administrator, saying that an offer has been made, but they've got to find the funds before Friday, or all of the teachers there will unfortunately be facing redundancy.
The councillor.
Yes. Also there last night at the meeting was Councillor Zahir Mohammed. He's Cabinet Member for Education and Skills at Bucks County Council. The council placed 15 children at that school. So if the school closes, they've got to go elsewhere. They said it was their priority to make sure those children were placed elsewhere. Has that happened? Here's what he had to say on that issue.
The latest figures, and I can't give you the detail because it's really down to the families. It's not information that I can divulge. But if I give you rough figures from today, about 40% have accepted places, about 50 are still waiting offers. They're the rough figures, but I can't divulge anything.
So what about the other 10%?
I can't. The thing is, I can't divulge too much because that's giving away information on the few parents that are there.
Okay, well, we're going to be speaking to the council later on. We're not going to be speaking to Steve Baker, who is the Conservative MP for High Wycombe, where the school's based. He didn't want to come on the show anymore. He didn't like the tone of the interview that we did. He said I breached several BBC guidelines. I'm looking forward to the official complaint then, Steve. We are speaking to Dominic Grieve, MP, though, who some of the parents are in his constituency, and he's been more than happy to talk to them, and he's going to talk to us. Let me quickly read this email that I sent to Kerry, and then we'll move on. Kerry McLeish, she's one of the trustees. She said she won't be coming on the show, but the trustees will be posting a Q&A on the school website, much like McCartney did with his first solo album, McCartney, where they'll set the questions, they'll answer the questions. This is my reply. It's a bit long, bear with me. Kerry, read your email to Sophie. This is silly now. Your refusal to come on the show and speak to the parents is getting people very angry. Your engagement of a PR company in Soho completely backfired and actually made you look as though you don't care. Now, come on. I know you do care, but your complete unwillingness to speak is making people suspicious and angry. The trustees are coming over as uncaring, cold and selfish, more interested in protecting their own interests than speaking out for the vulnerable children who find themselves without a school and the parents who are heartbroken. I guarantee that issuing a scripted Q&A will only make you look worse, and having had members of my team speak to the administrators, I know that they have not stopped you from talking to us. Please, I am begging you, come on the show. You can have as long as you want, all morning if you'd like. There are questions that simply have to be answered, and I suspect will not be covered by a Q&A. My team and I will not let this story go. We will continue to ask questions and follow all lines of inquiry. I'm begging you, please come on the show and answer the questions, please. No reply.
Wow.
03, Justin, excellent work. Speak to you later on about Lord Sewell. 03459 455 555. Let's get the Trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you're heading into London on the North Circular, there's a lane closed for barrier repairs heading east at the Staples Corner flyover, blocking the inside lane just as you come up onto the flyover after an accident yesterday morning. On Paula Radcliffe Way in Bedford, the roadworks there still at Cutthroat Lane and Clapham Road, likely to cause some delays later this morning. No problems on the trains. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Tom. Coming up, we will have the conversation. Am I the only person that feels sorry for Lord Sewell? And have you got photos at home of you doing rude stuff? Because I tell you what, in my household, I ain't. I keep them in the lockup by the Thames. I don't. I keep them in the boot of my car. I don't. I keep them in the boot of Kelly's car. Where are we now? 6:18. It is Tuesday, the 28th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. An 11th hour offer has been made to buy Penn's special school in Buckinghamshire, which is set to close on Friday. Hertfordshire peer Baroness Sal Brinton says Lord Sewell should leave the House of Lords. And the family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable.
Every weekday morning.
One partially closed and the others didn't operate at all.
I have contacted other companies who do it professionally, and they said it should have been anchored down.
The JVS Show.
It was looked over by the garage and they told me do not move the vehicle anywhere. It's a complete death trap.
The JVS Show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
I'm getting nowhere. I've tried on numerous occasions to talk to the manager of this company.
If you need our help, email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
So they said, we're going to contact the customer, we're going to have a chat, and we're going to make a gesture to that customer.
And we could do the same for you.
Without your programme, I don't know what you'd do in the morning.
The JVS Show, weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Imagine a computer system on a radio station where you can type in searches for any songs, and you type in Taylor, look, because you fancy a bit of Taylor Swift. I like a bit of Taylor Swift. I like that bouncy one she did. Maybe you could look for it, Kelly. And what comes up is James Taylor and Queen. I want Taylor. Why would you invent a radio search system that doesn't bring up, I don't know, Taylor Swift, for crying out loud? Can you get me that good Taylor Swift song?
Shake It Off.
Shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it off. Is that the one? Is that the one I like?
I'm guessing so.
Thank you very much indeed. Then that's the one, what I want to hear. Why would you invent a system where you can't type in Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift pops up in 2015? We've not upset her as well as Apple, have we? Nearly played a Neil Young song yesterday. I managed to pull out of that as quickly as I possibly could. 03459 455 555. Very sad story. The family of a 69-year-old woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. A coroner found there was a gross failure in the care of Eileen Smith. Well, Eileen's niece, Leslie Dean, and her husband Keith say both doctors and nurses didn't even read a special folder which set out her disability needs. Well, Mary Varney is a lawyer in the human rights team at Lee Day and represented Leslie and Keith. She joins me now. Morning, Mary.
Morning.
There were a catalogue of failings here, weren't there? What were the main ones, the main failings after Eileen was admitted to the hospital?
Well, there was around a 12-hour period where observations showed that Eileen's health was deteriorating. And the observations are allocated a score, and you place the score on the chart, which says on the front of it what you have to do if the score reaches certain numbers. And there were just repeated failings over 12 hours to escalate the fact that her health was deteriorating to any medical staff. On top of that, there were failures to use the right bleeps so that even when they did try and contact a doctor before that 12-hour period, they were using the wrong numbers. And it seems that a lot of comfort was taken from the fact that Eileen was quiet, that she looked okay, and that she was just sitting peacefully. Whereas if they'd taken time to read her purple folder, it would have explained that Eileen didn't really communicate, and she certainly didn't communicate pain.
What is this purple folder? Because this is significant, isn't it, in the failings, in that they ignored the purple folder. Why is this so important?
It is. A purple folder is like a hospital passport, if you like, for patients with learning disabilities or with other complex needs. And it sets out to the health staff what the individual is like, because they can't tell the doctor or the nurses information about themselves as a patient who didn't have those disabilities would be able to do. And so it's a very important tool to ensure that those caring for patients who can't communicate for themselves and who have a learning disability know about this patient as an individual and therefore can tailor their care and make judgments about them accordingly.
After the serious case review, you and the family had to really push, didn't you, to persuade the coroner to open an inquest? That must have been very frustrating.
Yes, it was. I think the trust heard in the inquest how difficult it was for the family to have to take the steps to contact the coroner themselves. And originally, the first coroner who looked at the circumstances of the death declined to hold an inquest, I think because he wasn't fully aware of the allegations of failings in Eileen's care. And it took Leslie and Keith actually finding lawyers, instructing Lee Day, and us making submissions to the coroner to show him all the failings that we alleged had happened and had an impact on Eileen's death. And yes, it was a real shame that the trust didn't take steps themselves to, having found gross failings, to alert the coroner to those. Instead, it was left to the family who had to try and find lawyers to help them do it.
We're going to be speaking to the Director of Nursing at Lister Hospital later on, and I pray that I do not hear the phrase, lessons have been learnt. Oh, I hate that phrase. Is there anything that you'd like us to say to him, Mary?
I think in my experience, I've sadly done a few of these inquests where the coroners find there were gross failings in patients' care. And what surprised me so far is the fact that there's been no personal contact from the chief executive of the trust, the person that at the top of the chain, to give a personal apology to Leslie, for whom this has obviously been an incredibly sad experience. And although we welcome the changes that the Trust has made, and there is no doubt that Eileen's legacy is that patients are safer at the Leicester Hospital, I'd like to see them take them step as a real acknowledgement of the harm that they caused.
Is that what Leslie would like to happen? To receive a personal apology?
It's not something she's asked for directly. You asked me what I'd like to do. It's not something she's asked for directly. Leslie asks questions. She's never fought an aggressive fight. She's never been one to criticise the NHS as a whole. This was gross failings on a ward at a particular time. She asked some questions. She through her courage of pursuing this, she's managed to uncover some really serious issues, but thankfully the Trust has now taken action, and I think she deserves an apology from the Chief Executive for that.
OK. Mary, really nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. That's Mary Varney, lawyer in the Human Rights team at Leigh Day. Very sad story. 03459 455 555.
Doorbells.
Stetson.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Checking the speed sensors, and the North Orbital Road looking heavy coming down to join the M25 at junction 21A at Bricketwood. In Hendon, the North Circular, that's got a lane closed for barrier repairs heading east at Staples Corner on the flyover. Looking busy on the North Circular, queuing already between East End Road heading west to Henley's Corner. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. An 11th hour offer has been made to buy Buckinghamshire Special School, threatened with closure. Penn School near High Wycombe is set to close at the end of the month and is being run by administrators. Parents met with the head teacher last night. Evidence has been removed from a central London address used by Lord Sewell. He says he won't return to the Lords until inquiries are completed. Baroness Sal Brinton from Hertfordshire, the president of the Liberal Democrats, says he should go now. And the family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. They said the coroner's findings recognised that multiple failings in Eileen Smith's care contributed to the cause of her death.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The pre-season friendlies continue this evening. Watford make the trip to Wales to play Cardiff. The Hornets added new signing number 10 yesterday, with Dutch winger Steven Berghuis joining from AZ Alkmaar for a fee believed to be around £4 million. Milton Keynes Dons host Spanish side Getafe in their first friendly at Stadium MK, the match dedicated to Chief Scout Andy King, who passed away at the end of May. Luton host Brentford. Still no word from the Hatters on the future of trialist striker Craig McHale-Smith, and Wickham are away to Basingstoke. In Formula One, Renault have described the Milton Keynes Red Bull team as high maintenance. It's part of an ongoing spat between the two about the quality of the engines the French team are supplying. Racing's Glorious Goodwood gets underway today with a new title. Champion jockey Richard Hughes retires at the end of the 5 days to switch from riding racehorses to training them. More from Cornelius Lycett.
Technically, it's no longer Glorious Goodwood after a multi-million-pound sponsorship deal with Qatar, though such a famous name is likely to stick over the 5 days, during which time Richard Hughes is favourite to be top jockey on a track where he's enjoyed notable successes over the years, particularly with retired trainer Richard Hannon and now Richard Hannon Jr. Hughes retires on Saturday and hopes to saddle runners in the autumn. His mounts today include 2p in the feature, the Lennox Stakes, though his best chance could be on Papa Luigi at 4.55.
And in cricket, England and Australia complete their preparations at Edgbaston today ahead of tomorrow's third Ashes test. England's women lost by 89 runs to Australia in their latest one-day international at Worcester. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin at 7.
Tasty.
Hang on a minute. I've only got one thing. This is going to play this, not as smooth as it was going to be. Go.
People try to put us to talking about my favorite station just because we're talking about my favorite station. They said the BBC was dead and talking about my favorite station, but our new approach is fresh and bold. My favorite station. This is my favorite station, baby. Radio 1.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, if I'd then been... I'm doing this all from iPod, guys, and if I'd have had the skills, I could have scrolled immediately to the song that I wanted to play, and I just... I don't have skills. So, yesterday, Kelly, I showed you a letter. Do you remember I showed you a letter? Showed you a letter?
No.
Do you not remember I showed you a letter? Showed you a letter. Shags, yesterday I showed you a letter.
Me a letter?
Yeah, I did, mate. Sorry, that was out of order. Yes, I did, mate. I did. I showed you.
Okay, yeah.
I showed you both a letter after the show, and you went, "Oh, that's nice."
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Honestly, Justin, I had a letter in my bag after the show. Yeah. I showed him a sealed letter and went, I've got...
Oh, yes.
Oh, look at
yes,
these
yes,
two.
yes,
Incredible.
yes.
What was the letter?
Technically, it was an envelope, is all I'm saying.
I mean, that is slap.
There's
slap
attitude
number
here,
one.
capital A.
That is shaggitude.
Sorry.
Slap number one. Kelly.
You had written a letter
Yep.
To the residents of your childhood home.
Yep, the house I lived in between the age of 0 and 11. 1973 to 1984, classic. I wrote them a letter. Right, my sister's emigrating, and as much as I've tried to avoid the facts and put my head in the sand, it's still actually going to happen. I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we went to, having lost our dad in the last couple of years, and Mum's not very well, and she's moving away. Wouldn't it be nice if we went to looked at our old childhood home? Just went round.
I remember we had this conversation about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Would you go and knock on the front door? And if you were that person, would you let them in? It's a bit weird, but I can totally understand why you're doing this.
Well, so I wrote the letter. I've done phrases, and I wrote the letter. Wrote a letter saying, I know this is weird. I used to live here, and I explained kind of what had been going on. We'd had a bit of I just thought it'd be really nice if we came and had a look around. Getting emotional thinking about it. And I went and posted this letter. It's really nervous. I posted the letter and I dashed off. Got a text.
Did you?
Got a text. Not interested, don't want to know. No, I'm joking.
I was going to say, that could be for anyone, to be honest.
Hi there. I'm not going to say her name because make up a name. Hi there. My name is Sarah. I live at the address. I read your lovely letter today. You're welcome any time to come round and look. It will be my pleasure.
Oh, brilliant.
And then we had a little text thing and she wrote, I was really touched by your letter. She told me the days that she's available. It will be great to meet you. I'm a single mum of 3. My children love this house too. We're making great memories for them. And then she says, I've not lived there for 31 years.
Yeah.
I just spoke to Phil and Jim. They would love to see you too. They remember you very well. They're the next door neighbours. No. They're the old couple that live next door.
Boss.
I thought they were dead.
I'm up. Do you know what? I'm giving you one of these.
Thank you. Thank you. I accept that.
Great story.
They're next door neighbours from 30 years ago who were, I remember them being old, but I was like 8, so I'm guessing maybe they were in their 50s. That was 30 years.
You have made me feel good to be alive this morning. Yeah. This is the sort of stuff that we need in this country.
I feel quite emotional. I genuinely feel a bit emotional. There is now a chance, because my sister's actually moving earlier than I thought, that she may not be able to go. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go, and I'm going to go and sit in the bedroom that I grew up in.
You give me inspiration. On Sunday...
I'm like, Buddha, Christ... Or I'm going to say it, the other one.
Well, we're getting deep now. On Sunday, I buried my granddad's ashes. It's been a while.
Did you really? Well done.
But it got me thinking on the way back. Do you know what? I would love to go and see the home that he used to live in.
Yeah.
A lovely family moved in. What have they done to it to bring back some memories as well? But it's that weird thing of making that initial contact. Are they going to think you're a weirdo? The only thing in our favour is we work for the BBC.
And I did put that in. I was able to say, look, I work for the BBC. You can look at... But I've heard other stories of other people just knocking on the door and them being allowed. Now, the house I live in now isn't particularly old, so there's not going to... I wouldn't have thought there'd be that many memories associated with the people. That's a weird thing to say. I don't mean it to come out like that, but I can't be bothered to pursue it and correct it. But I think most 03459 455 555. If someone knocked on your door or wrote you a letter, you would have to seriously consider it. She was overjoyed, this woman.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to cry. And as I walked up the driveway to post the letter, my dad tarmacked the drive. It was a front garden, and he tarmacked the drive. He just turned up one morning with a load of tarmac. Where'd you get that from? My dad was such a dodgepot. My mum said, "Where'd you get the tarmac from?" He said, I paid some fellows who were laying the M25.
Absolute
Who
lad.
were building the M25. He said, I gave them 20 quid and they dropped it off. So they just turned up. And I noticed that there is a little bump at the end of the drive. Under that is 2 time capsules that me and my sister buried in a couple of golden Virginia tins. Have some of that.
Wow.
So I might dig it up before. I won't. But so that's going to happen in the next month or so.
Fair play. What a lovely story that is.
It's nice, isn't it?
Really nice.
It is a risk, though, because if it's your home...
They could kidnap me and kill me.
And somebody knocks and says, I used to live here, and I look around.
Yeah.
I know that's not how you speak, but that's how,
Well, if it was a drug addict...
I don't know.
It is a risk. It is a risk. I don't think I'd let someone look around my house if the kids were in. I don't know. You just suss up the vibe, don't you? You suss up the vibe, and the fact that she was able to speak to the next door neighbours and they clarified the name and the connection and stuff like that.
I just think it's
it was a great day yesterday because I had that right, and then I'm doing a job on Thursday.
Are you?
Got a job.
Tarmac.
No. No, I'm going on a television show. I'm back.
Oh,
back in the
Which
big
one?
time.
Which one, big man?
Only Pointless.
I was
Daytime.
going to say Pointless.
Daytime. Daytime premiere quiz show.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it's not the celebrity version. I'm just a punter. I'm joking. Of course, it's the celebrity version. And they said, what celebrity do you want to go on with? I don't know any celebs. I asked Tony Blackburn, but he's working Thursday. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn up Thursday, rock up. There'll be some random celebrity there. Could be Minnie Driver. I don't know, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Bruce Willis.
And we're going to do Pointless with them. Now, bearing in mind, I've won Weakest Link. I've won the Mastermind. I've won the Celebrity MasterChef. Not
Mate,
MasterChef.
I don't need your life
Come
story.
down with
I
me.
need to correct. I didn't. I came last and come down with me. We don't discuss that. That was the worst week of my life. The one with Percy Potato and Terry Tomato.
Oh, won't cook. Ready, steady, won't
Ready,
cook.
Steady, Won't Cook. I won Ready, Steady, Won't Cook.
Did you really?
Yes, I did, mate. Here's the thing about Ready, Steady, Won't Cook, right? You know, you turn up with your shopping bag of your shopping goods that you've bought. You've not bought that. Someone's bought that for you. They give it to you. They show you just before you go on what
No,
you've bought.
you don't. You don't pick your own ingredients.
No, mate. No, mate.
I'm outraged.
I was outraged, but they were paying quite good cash, I seem to remember.
What 5 ingredients would you have picked if it was real?
A potato.
Yeah,
A
good.
cheese.
Yeah, good.
That'll do.
Yeah, good.
Mashed potato with cheese on,
Cheesy
isn't it?
mash.
Cheesy mash.
I'll be there.
So I'm filming that on Thursday. So yesterday was a good day.
Yeah, fair play to you.
Very good day.
Yeah, strong vibe.
Now listen, I want you to take this to the streets.
Yeah, I'm busy editing some stuff about
sorry,
pens.
hang on.
Hang on.
I can't take it to the streets. I'm busy.
No, I will be. I'm editing some more audio for 7 o'clock on Penn School,
Yeah.
the very latest. But yeah, I will be going to the streets as well.
Lord Shield.
In between.
Lord Shield, right? I feel sorry for this guy. I don't condone what he did. I don't condone Class A drug taking, if that is indeed what he did. I don't condone having sex with prostitutes. People do these things. A lot of people do these things. And you're right.
Yeah, I can just hear Prince hoovering.
It's a great guy. Seriously,
It's a
this
great
morning
name,
he is up for it. Prince, get him in here.
We will do.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, you can start with asking Prince if you feel sorry for Lord Shield. He has been shamed and humiliated across the front pages of all the newspapers. I feel sorry for the guy. He's going to lose his job.
Yeah.
You can argue whether that's right or not. He's going to get investigated by the police. I'm sure nothing will come of it, but it's right that they investigate it.
Yep.
I feel sorry for the guy. He trusted those. He literally bought the trust of those women for 400 quid. That's a bargain price, by the way. And they filmed him at his most vulnerable.
Yeah,
I feel
true.
sorry for the guy.
Well, I said earlier on that every single person has been stitched up. But by some... no, it's true.
Right.
But because he's high profile, that's why it's on the front page of the newspaper. So, yes, I do feel sorry for him. And if you went through every single person's home, there will be photographs somewhere. Somewhere.
This I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any photographs anywhere.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
OK, well, if you don't, somebody else will.
You say my missus or my kids? Let's put the kids to one side. You say my missus has?
But there would be somebody out there who's got a dodgy photograph of you. But because you're high... No, this is true.
Where have they taken it?
Most people who've got photographs about them out there, doesn't really matter because it's not going to get on the front page of a newspaper.
If there were photos like that of me, I'd lose my job straight away. Boom, I'm out. I'm out. Is it right that... OK, supposing I got caught... Let's go through this stage by stage.
Yeah.
Let's make it about me. Supposing I got caught having it away with a prostitute, should I lose my job? Because I would.
I don't think you should know.
Supposing I got caught wearing an ill-fitting bra whilst having sex with a prostitute, should I lose my job? Oh, the ill-fitting bra has given me pause to think.
It's a tough one. It's what's going on in your life at the time, isn't it? You can't just look at it and say, "Oh, that's outrageous. Let's sack that person." You've got to look into the reasons why they're doing it.
Take this to the streets when you got a minute, if that's
yeah,
all right.
No, that's
with
fine.
you. If that's all right with you,
I'm going to go to the streets.
Yeah,
I
I
said
know.
to you I'm going to the streets.
I know. Just we finish at 9.
You'll have it for 7:30.
That is absolutely fandabby-dozy. Yeah. And let's get the Prince perspective as well, please.
Prince perspective,
yes,
yeah.
please, boss. Thank you very much. I'll speak to you later on. Thank you very much indeed. 03459 455. This chair. I'm going to swap this chair because it keeps going down on me. 03459 455 555. Am I the only person that feels sorry for Lord Shield? I feel sorry for him. And also, have you been back to the house you grew up in, knocked on the door, sent them a letter? If someone did knock on your door, rock up and say, I used to live here, can I have a look around? Would you let them in, or is that a little bit weird? 81333, start your text 3CR.
Travel news for beds, cards and bucks.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
building up on the M25 going anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40, and again between junction 21 for the M1 and junction 19 for Watford. Coming down to join the M25 at junction 21A, busy on the North Orbital Road, the A405 at Bricketwood, and further into London, the North Circular's heavy going west between the Clockhouse interchange and New Southgate. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
What'd you say?
We've got
I won't
two
tell you.
weird-
I won't tell you what I said.
No, I heard what you said.
Okay.
Just said we've got two weird texts.
We'll come to those in a moment. That's
yeah, it wasn't breaking.
Okay. That's got to be worth. That's got to be worth staying tuned for, isn't it? Two weird texts. 03459 455 555. It is Tuesday, the 28th of July. I'm doing my slow voice. It's the news. An 11th hour offer has been made to buy Penn Special School in Buckinghamshire, which is set to close on Friday. Hertfordshire peer Baroness Sal Brinton says Lord Sewell should leave the House of Lords. And the family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. Let's get the weather. Here's Sarah.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. Good morning. I feel like you're going to say something to me, aren't you?
What would you like me to say to you, Sarah? There's nothing I can say to you, really.
That's going to make it any better.
That's going to make up for this.
Nutbush.
You know, you said nutbush. Nutbush. So I just feel it's probably best we just move on from that.
Well, what speed am I doing the weather at this morning? Is it slow and
tediously slow at the moment, if I'm honest. Let's do it excited. Excitable speed. I'm setting the weather to excitable. Here we go.
Here we go. All right then. 13 Celsius across the three counties this morning, and we are dry right now. Quite a bit of cloud around, but we will see breaks appearing in that cloud as we go through the day, and generally it'll be dry with some sunny spells this afternoon, 17 or 18 Celsius. Couldn't rule out a late evening shower. Generally, though, we will stay dry overnight. Tomorrow we start dry, lots of sunshine through the day, and some afternoon showers. No?
Let's just go back to slow and boring, shall we? All right. Thanks, Sarah. Cheers. She's a good sport.
Good morning, it's 6 o'clock.
For waking us up
The headlines, elderly care
and getting us going.
I'm listening all week, yeah!
Here it comes, baby. For making us laugh. And making us cry.
Flipping it, mate. Calm down.
Wish it on anyone. For expanding our minds.
We're going to take a walk through Luton, holding hands. Expanding our minds. See if anything happens.
And broadening our horizons.
But if my liver's literally not hanging off on its last threads, then
You can up your drinking. For all of our hopes.
You can be sure that I'll never ever forget you. Your very loving husband, John. And I leave that on there. She might read it, I don't know.
And our dreams.
Watford are promoted to the Premier League. The final whistle goes at Stadium MK. The Dons are in the Championship.
For not just listening, but living it too.
I think Tim needs to go to Watermead.
Where?
Watermead.
For all of us. BBC Three Counties Radio.
That's very
Jamiroquai.
I'm trying to.
You don't have to say
That's what I'm trying to
you love
find.
me just because I had.
One more time for luck.
You don't have to say you love me just because I had.
Oh, where's that record? You gave me a brilliant record yesterday.
Did you not keep it?
No, I threw it back to you.
We gave it to Justin.
All right, Justin's going to... Maybe we'll take it to the streets tomorrow. We've got a brilliant... I tell you what, tomorrow is a protest song special, all right? And we got sent... one of the great joys of sitting opposite you, Kelly, is A, as I can always get a sneaky glimpse without you knowing. B,
I always know.
Exactly. And I know you know, and that's what makes it so much naughtier. And B, I get all of the BBC Introducing rejects. No, I get the stuff that's too good for BBC Introducing.
Yes.
That's how I got... What were they called? Thunderstruck?
Tantrum.
Tantrum, that was it.
They were not rejects.
So I got Tantrum on. I broke Tantrum on my show. You may have heard them on other shows. They stole the idea. My show. And tomorrow we have got a brilliant singer-songwriter coming on. Protest song. It's about the so-called Islamic State. It's a bold move.
It really is.
I've not heard Neil Young doing one. Well, even if he did, we wouldn't be able to play it because of the disagreement the BBC have got with him. But I've not heard, I don't know, any of your other protest singers, Duncan from Blue or anybody
Bob
doing this.
Dylan.
But I've not heard Bob Dylan doing a song about the so-called Islamic State. This young lady has. It's a risky thing to do. Dealey's going to take it to the streets, which in many ways maybe even riskier. So that's tomorrow's protest song special. You better remember that, Shags, you're producing. If you don't, slaps.
Great harmonica on it.
There is harmonica on it, yeah. Jeff is in Wingrave. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Ian.
Good morning. What have you got for us, Jeff?
Well, I was touched by your story about going back to a house you lived in. I was born in 1941. My father was in the Royal Air Force, and my birth certificate says that I was living at an address in St Ives in Huntingdonshire, as it was then. And I was up that part of the world and thought, well, about 3 or 4 years ago, let's go, see if we can find the place where I live.
Yeah.
Went to an estate agent, found out where the road was, because they would know. And I found this little terrace houses, and I suspect my father rented a room there. I would have thought my mum and father rented a room there. I knocked on the door, and there were 2 elderly people, they were probably 90, just sat there, looking out of the window. I looked in the window, and they looked at me. Didn't stir, didn't do anything. Oh, Christ, what do I do? And I thought, well, I can't do anything more. So I obviously left it. I came home, I took a photocopy of my birth certificate. I wrote a nice letter, hopefully a nice letter, to them, and the letter had the birth certificate had the address on. And sadly, I never heard another word.
Oh, no! Really?
And that's rather hoping that they've got a daughter or son would have picked it up and contacted me.
I suppose if they were elderly, that, you know, that they would be a little bit cautious. But you'd think that...
Well, when I knocked and I realised, I thought, oh, this is a crazy thing to do, because I'd be...
Isn't it?
You could see they were elderly. I thought I'd probably worried them stiff, which is why I wrote to them and explained...
To ignore a letter like that is cold, Jeff.
I mean, I was infant, you know. I mean, I wasn't many months, I suppose, we stayed there, so obviously I had no memory of the house whatsoever.
Yeah.
I saw the house where I lived. I was born in St Neots.
Yeah.
And nursing home, and then obviously my parents were living at this rented house or rented flat, I say, rented room. And I went and saw where I lived, where I was born, just after I was born, as an infant. So it didn't have any more meaning.
No. But still, there is a, whether you remember it or not, there's still a connection with that place.
And I thought, I came out worried all day. Oh dear, this poor couple, old people, and I've worried them stiff.
Jeff, listen, thank you for your call. I'm sorry that they didn't get back in touch. That's heartbreaking. I wasn't sure what I was expecting. I was so pleased. I was watching a really boring documentary in the afternoon. And I was so pleased to get this text from this woman who lives at the house I grew up in. Spent the first 11 years of my life there. I'm going to go there in the next few weeks. I'm a little bit nervous about it. I came away and had a little cry. I had a little cry in the car, which is absolutely fine to do. Peter in Walmer Green. Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
I'm supposing they've knocked down the cave that you grew up in.
No, that's gone, actually, yes.
Yes, the caves. I'm making a joke that you're
I
old.
went back there, but from my street,
yes,
you've got to remember that I told you before that 6 people and their children, the children were in their 60s.
All lived in a cardboard box under the stairs.
All went back and wanted to meet up. What a street that was.
What a street. What have you called in to whinge about today, Pete?
I was going to talk about the Parliament, really.
The Parliament, OK.
Yeah, because of what's happened to Sewell.
Yeah.
I've got no... He's a hypocrite, really, because he's in charge of standards, and we know what's the sludge that's been slopping around in Parliament for the last few years.
What's he done, Peter?
Yeah.
What's he done wrong?
What's he done wrong?
Tell me what he's done wrong.
Well, first of all, he's in charge of standards.
No. The very specific question, Peter. Focus. This isn't Radio 4. I'm not going to let you get away with this. What's he done wrong?
If the pictures are true,
yeah,
he was sniffing cocaine.
Okay, he's allegedly been sniffing cocaine. We have no evidence of that. Yeah, we don't know for sure, but yeah.
Well, I mean, if the pictures are true, it's never cocaine.
Okay.
It was out with prostitutes.
He's helping independent business.
If the pictures are true, yeah.
He's helping young independent businesswomen. He's helping them get on their feet after he's taken them off his feet. Well, he put it somewhere.
That's one way of putting it. And
that's
if
what
you
she
put
said.
yourself in a position where any slip of a girl, if you like, can take pictures of you in that.
How has it impacted on your life? It hasn't, has it? He's embarrassed. Should he lose his job? I don't know if he should.
I don't like hypocrites.
But what's he done that's hypocritical? When has he said don't take drugs?
For goodness sake, the man's judging standards.
Yeah, but when has he said don't take drugs or pay women for sex?
It doesn't matter.
Well, then he don't, because he's not a hypocrite. Then if he hasn't said that,
of course he is. It's judging standards.
No, but when has he said don't pay women for sex?
Nowhere, as far as I know.
Then he's not a hypocrite. 03459 455 555. Do you feel sorry for Lord Sewell? I do.
Yesterday had nothing to say. Tomorrow may bring me a thought. Today was here, now it's turned into fear. If it's with you, then I should stay. Sit and wonder why I'm leaving. Sit and wonder if you'll call. Sit and wonder why I'm looking for a meaning. Sit and wonder why I'm wondering at all.
Good morning, sir.
Never.
Knockers are better.
Yesterday, you gave me my way.
Jack Russell.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna give you yours.
I'm not in a bad mood.
We shared in each other's affair. Now there's really nothing left for me to say. Sit and wonder why I'm leaving. Sit and wonder if you'll call. Sit and wonder why I'm looking for a meaning. Sit and wonder why I'm wondering at
I'll have to stop myself from wandering from you and finding you a single day. But there's someone stood behind me still, someone's voice that keeps on calling me away.
Sit and wonder why I'm leaving. Sit and wonder if you'll call.
Go away.
Sit and wonder why I'm looking for a meaning. Sit and wonder why I'm wondering at all.
I've got a mouthful of sausage.
Shut up and listen.
Variety.
Yesterday had nothing to say. Tomorrow may bring me a thought. Today was here, now it's turned into fear. If it's with you, then I should stay. Sit and wonder why I'm leaving. Sit and wonder if you'll call.
News and Trav just going to have to wait, baby.
Sit and wonder why I'm looking for a meaning. Sit and wonder why I'm wondering at all.
Catch me if you can.
Just too glorious to interrupt. Sorry.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Busy already this morning on the M25, anti-clockwise from junction 17 for Maple Cross, around to 16 for the M40, and going between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 at Watford. Also busy on the North Orbital Road coming down to join the M25 at 21A. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Tom. Justin Dealey has just tweeted the weirdest picture of him and our Temple Where We Clean a Prince. Was that picture taken in Narnia or something? It's very, very bizarre.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: offer to buy Buckinghamshire Special School. Hertfordshire Peer says Lord Sewell should resign, and families anger over death at Stevenage Hospital.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
An 11th hour offer has been made to buy a Buckinghamshire Special School threatened with closure. Penn School near High Wycombe is set to close at the end of the month and is being run by administrators. Parents who have criticised the role of the school's trustees met with the head teacher last night. Head Mary Richardson was able to give them the latest update from the administrators.
There are still 6 interested parties, but only one offer, and that's being negotiated at the moment. The word that she used was that talks were progressing. I'm certainly very happy. It's given us a lot of hope, and we're just hoping that on Friday a firm offer will be accepted.
Evidence has been removed from a central London address used by Lord Sewell. Police are investigating the peer over claims he snorted cocaine with prostitutes. He says he won't return to the Lords until inquiries are completed. Baroness Sal Brinton from Hertfordshire, the president of the Liberal Democrats, wants Lord Sewell to leave now over derogatory comments he allegedly made about Asian women.
He, of all people, as chairman of that committee, holding the rest of us to account for our standards, for him to speak in such a racist and sexist way is just not on, and he should go.
A senior manager in the NHS from Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge has spoken of his frustration at having to recruit large numbers of nurses from abroad. Figures from the UK's nursing regulator show the recruitment of overseas staff is rising, with most foreign nurses now coming from other parts of the European Union. Legal experts say a landmark Court of Appeal ruling in favour of a Hertfordshire woman has dealt a major blow to the rights of people to choose who they want to leave money to in their wills. Heather Eilert from Ware has been awarded £164,000 from the estate of her mother, even though she clearly stated she didn't want Mrs. Eilert to get a penny. The family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. Eileen Smith's niece, Leslie Dean, and her husband Keith say both doctors and nurses didn't even read her file, which set out her disability needs. More from Tony Fisher.
Lawyers for the family say the coroner's findings recognises that multiple failings in Eileen's care contributed to the cause of her death. They add it's hugely disappointing that patients with learning disabilities are more likely to suffer avoidable deaths than those without a learning disability. The Trust has apologised to Eileen's family for the failings in her care and says it is now trialling a new electronic observation system on their wards.
A lorry driver was released by firefighters after his vehicle overturned on the roundabout at junction 14 of the M1 at Milton Keynes last night. The emergency services were called just before 9 p.m. In sport, the pre-season friendlies continue this evening. Watford make the trip to Wales to play Cardiff. Milton Keynes Dons host Spanish side Getafe in their first friendly at Stadium MK. Luton host Brentford, and Wycombe are away to Basingstoke. The weather: sunny spells, still the risk of a shower, maximum temperature 19 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you very much, Simon, and thank you for your patience. Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy show. Someone knocks on your door, says, I used to live here as a kid. Can I come and have a look around? What would you do? And also, do you feel sorry for Lord Sewell? I do. 03459 455 555.
Across beds, bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
03459 455 555. Now, parents at Penn School have been told an offer has been made to save the school, despite me getting an email from the administrators last night saying that an offer hasn't been made. It's very confusing. The head teacher told the parents at a meeting last night of the 5 interested organisations, one has come forward and they've got until Friday to put up the money. Justin joins me. Justin, we're going to talk about the meeting in a second. A couple of guests I want to go to, first of all. Let me bring in Beaconsfield MP Dominic Grieve. Morning, Dominic.
Good morning.
First of all, thank you very much for joining us to talk about this. There's some MPs, Steve Baker in particular, who refuses to talk about this, which is very odd. Up until recently, Penn School was in your constituency, wasn't it?
Until 2010.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what are your thoughts on it? Did you know it well?
I did know it quite well. I used to visit it regularly when I was the local MP, and when I ceased to be the local MP, they asked me if I would remain as a patron of the school, and having secured the agreement of Steve, because it was in his patch, and I didn't wish to be involved in his constituency without his agreement, I stayed on as a patron, and I used to go perhaps once or twice a year for prize givings and things of that sort.
The Ofsted reports hadn't been great. They were kind of on the swing again. Were you worried by the Ofsted reports?
I was very worried about the Ofsted report. The Ofsted report was devastating for the school, and I have to say I always found it very difficult to square the Ofsted report with my own impression of the school when I visited it. But I'm not an expert in these matters, so I'm always mindful of that. But it was a devastating blow, and because this school is a non-maintained school, the consequence of the Ofsted report has really precipitated all the problems that have followed.
It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? I don't know how closely you've been following the story about the trustees knowing a year ago that the school was in serious financial trouble, Steve Baker and the headmistress knowing the school was going to close on June the 5th, several weeks before the parents. What are your thoughts on the way this has been handled?
Well, I find it very difficult to make any comment about that. The trustees are in a very difficult position. On the basis of this being a charitable but limited company, they will have duties. They certainly can't trade when they're insolvent. The money has to come from somewhere, and I'm just simply not privy to what was going on insofar as the trustees were concerned. I first knew I knew that the school was going to have difficulty from the moment the Ofsted report came out, but the fact that the school was facing imminent closure came as a complete bolt from the blue.
And I know that you've spoken to at least one parent of a child that goes to Penn School. You may have spoken to more, I don't know. What without giving away any confidentialities, of course, the parents are very upset, aren't they?
Well, the parents are understandably upset. The school provided an extremely good nurturing environment for children with complex needs. Nothing more disruptive than a school closing and those children being obliged to find a new place to go, which in many cases, on the face of it, will not meet their needs in the same way. There are very few of these schools around. This is, I think, the basic point. And so to find an alternative placement is going to be very difficult. And in some cases, the suggestion is the child should be moved into mainstream education. And quite frankly, mainstream education is not a suitable place to educate the vast majority of these children. That's one of the reasons why they went to Penn School in the first place.
Dominic, I don't want to worry you. I have nothing on you in the style of Lord Sewell, but my mum lives at the Chiltern Cheshire House in Gerrard's Cross, and I was at the Summer Fete, and I've got some very embarrassing photos of you doing some dancing. With bashing your sticks and prancing around. What's it worth to keep those pictures off the internet, sir?
Oh, I think I gave up worrying about that a long time ago. I've been doing a Morris dance to open the Chiltern Cheshire Home Fete for about 15 years.
Well, it's thoroughly enjoyed, and you're a good sport for doing it, Dominic. And thank you so much for coming on to talk about this. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. I know going off topic slightly. Every year he's at the opening of this summer fete, and every year he makes a complete plum of himself willingly by doing a Morris dance. And he's also prepared, Justin, to come on the show this morning.
Yep.
The school isn't even in his constituency anymore. He's come on the show. Steve Baker MP, where the Conservative MP for High Wycombe, refuses to come on the show.
The parents spoke very highly of him last night at the meeting. Of Dominic, absolutely,
Dominic,
yes.
No, and he's. I've had issues where I've had to get in touch with Dominic away from this station. He gets back in touch.
Yeah.
He says, I can help with this, I can't help with that, what do you want to do? You went to the meeting last night, Justin. What was the meeting for and what was the mood like?
No administrators were there last night, so Deloitte weren't present.
Okay.
The trustees, were they there last night? No, they weren't. So it was purely the parents in terms of what the very latest is with the school. The deadline is this Friday. According to the head teacher, who was there last night to face the parents, there has been an offer made.
Yeah.
That's according to her. So
I get the impression, again, listen, because we don't speak to the trustees, we don't know, but reading between the massive gaps in both interviews that you've done with the headmistress, I get the impression, I make up, that she has been left to hung out to dry a little bit.
Her words said to me last night, I feel like I've been excluded.
We'll talk more about that in a moment. Councillor Zahir Mohammed is the Cabinet Member for Education and Skills at Bucks County Council. Morning, Councillor. Were you at the meeting last night?
Good morning, Ian. Yes, I was at the meeting last night.
And what did you make of it?
I thought it was a very helpful meeting. I attended a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I was invited to come along yesterday as well. And I really felt it was important for me to support the parents as much as I could and be there, listen to them, hear any updated view, and see how the county council can help.
The school is privately run. Sorry, Zahir. The school is privately run, but some of the pupils that are leaving, the ones that live in Bucks, of course, that is your problem, placing those children. How's that going?
So far, I believe it's going well. I had the latest update from officers yesterday, and they said to me, I mean, I can't divulge figures in great detail because it means giving too much detail away in terms of parents and children, but roughly, and I'm just giving very rough figures here, it's about 40% of the parents have accepted their place. 50% are still waiting offers on their places.
How far away are those schools?
They vary. I mean, they vary depending on the complex need of the child, because at the end of the day, we want to support the needs of the child. So in some cases, it is some distance away.
A couple of hundred miles, we've heard in some cases, which is pretty poor, isn't it?
Well, unfortunately, it just depends on the needs of the child, really. And if it means going some miles away, then unfortunately that's where it is. That's just unfortunate of the needs of the child, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and it's also, I imagine I'm trying to put myself in the position of a parent who has to send their kid 200 miles away because their local school that they've championed has been managed quite poorly.
I can't comment too much on the management of the school itself. I think we're all fully familiar with the situation there. It has been.
They muffed up, didn't they? They knew a year ago. They knew a year ago that the school was in serious financial trouble, and they did very little, it would appear, to turn that around.
I can't comment on what they did or what they didn't do to turn it around. I think we all are familiar with the situation there. It was in special measures, and they did try to improve because their mobility requires improvement. They tried to get some funding to improve.
Well, they turned down some charitable offers as well, didn't they? They turned down a charitable offer from Waitrose to decorate the school.
Okay, I mean that's something for the school to comment on.
Okay. Do you personally think it was managed well?
Financially, it's clearly it would needed better management on the financial side. I think there's no doubt about that. In terms of information and communication, I think that could have been improved.
Have the trustees spoken to you?
The trustees have not directly spoken to me, but they've spoken to the officers at the county council, I understand, and there has been some communications with the officers in terms of how things have been progressing.
Your thoughts on the fact that the trustees haven't spoken to any of the parents, haven't come on here to speak to the parents, refused to reply to my emails, and are now saying they're going to issue a scripted Q&A?
I think that you need to follow that up with the trustees.
No, but your views on that.
In terms of communications, I think that there needs to be better communication between the school and the authorities and everybody else. There's no doubt about that. How that's being managed, I think that's down to the school again, how they want to manage that.
Do you think that you're doing enough, Zahir?
I'm doing as much as I can. I've done quite a lot so far, actually. When I first discovered about this on the 7th, 8th of July, I had regular meetings with my officers. My officers have kept me very well informed. And they've been working extremely hard behind the scenes and trying to secure alternative provision. I had an email from one of the parents on the Friday of that week, the 7th of July on the Friday, that I didn't pick up until the Sunday, and I contacted the parents straight away on the Sunday, and then they told me there's a meeting on the Monday. And I attended that meeting with the parents on the Monday. And then I attended the meeting yesterday, again, to meet with the parents, show my support, and try and do what I can to help support the parents. So I'm trying to do as much as I can, really, just to listen to their concerns and to see how best, as an authority, we can support those children.
Okay.
Because those children are vulnerable, they need help and support.
Of course they do. My reporter, Zahir, Justin Dealey, was at the meeting last night. Justin, you spoke to the parents, and you were going to play a clip of one of them now.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a 2-hour meeting, which was, again, very, very uncomfortable, a lot of tears, a lot of emotion. We're still getting people saying, why can't these children go to a mainstream school? Here we have a parent who explains why that is not possible.
When my daughter left a special school, she was placed into a mainstream college with no support. 6 months down the line, a boy took advantage of her, raped her, and consequently she had a baby, which now she has no contact with whatsoever. She doesn't want to look at her, she doesn't want to touch her. 4 years on, I have now brought that little girl up as my own. I've adopted her and she does call me mummy. But she has no contact with this little girl whatsoever. She doesn't want to know her.
And this is because her needs were so specialised that nobody was looking after her, and therefore the students there at the time took advantage of that situation.
Yes, they did. I mean, one boy in particular saw my little girl, vulnerable, and just did what he wanted to do with her, really. She thought it was love. She should have been protected, and she wasn't. She was let down. She was let down very, very badly.
How old was your daughter at the time?
16.
You tried to get these points across this evening to Councillor Mohammed from Bucks County Council. You burst into tears in that room. I don't think a lot of people had heard that story before. Do you think he took your concerns seriously?
No, I don't. I don't think he did. I don't think anybody does. From Bucks, I just think I think they just see these children being thrown into a placement because they're trying to save money. They're cutting corners. They don't care.
So you fought so hard to get your son into this school after what happened to your daughter in a mainstream school. Has your son got another placement for September? Will he be going to another school like Penn?
No, he's going into mainstream college with support.
How scared are you about that?
Really scared. Sleepless nights. Hate it. Hate the thought of it. I hate the thought that he's leaving Penn, because this was a haven for him. This was a family. This was a family unit.
Zahir, your response?
Yeah, I heard the story yesterday. I was very disappointed with the story. Obviously, my sympathies are with the parents. From what the authority can do is actually very limited. The school is in financial difficulties. It's very limited in terms of what the authority can do. The authority is trying to do their best to place the children in alternative provision. In some cases, it's a specialist needs college. Sometimes it's one or two is actually specialist needs schools. So there are places that are going to children in specialist provision. Indeed, one parent actually wanted to send their children to mainstream education.
Oh yeah, of course, some parents do, but it's not appropriate for a lot of these kids that have got very extreme difficulties. Two final questions, Zahir, then I'll let you go on. I really appreciate you coming on this morning, because I know this is a tough thing to talk about, and it would be very easy to just say, I'm not talking to anyone. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Two questions. If Penn does stay open, if a miracle happens, we believe there is an interested buyer, can those parents bring their kids back to Penn, or do they have to reapply? What would the process be?
Well, this is something that I spoke to one of the parents a couple of weeks ago in my first conversation with them, that, they're looking for somebody to take over, a partner buy, or whatever you want to call it. And my response to them at the time was that I want to see something concrete. I want to see some evidence-based that this is really will go through. If that is the case, then I will look at that case and make a decision on that basis. So if there is something out there, and so far I haven't seen anything, there is talk about offers and this and that, but there hasn't been anything concrete come my way. Even in yesterday's meeting, there wasn't really anything there.
Okay.
So if something does come my way, then it's something that I will consider, and hopefully we can try and address.
And finally, Zahir, you are the Cabinet Member for Education and Skills at Bucks County Council. It would appear that at least the headmistress and Steve Baker MP knew the school was going to close down at least a month before you did. Are you disappointed they didn't get in touch with you earlier?
I think it's down to the authorities to work out who they want to inform, whether they felt it was important to inform children at that time. They were working very hard to make sure it continues, so maybe they felt it just was going to cause more distress to parents if they informed everybody at that time. I think that's a decision for them to work out whether they should or they shouldn't. Clearly, if we had information earlier, then we would have worked on that information. And they would have helped, but I think that's a question for Mr. Baker and the school.
Zahir, genuinely, I appreciate you coming on this morning. It's not an easy conversation to have. Councillor Zahir Mohammed, a Cabinet Member for Education and Skills at Bucks County Council. Justin, final word to you.
I was going to say, I mean, fair play to him last night for turning up again and
Tough
sitting.
crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. For an hour or so, I think one of the parents used the term, "Well, we've beaten you up for an hour or so now," and he faced every single question. He tried to answer those questions.
Yep.
He came on this morning, and
you have to respect that.
You've got to respect that. But as I say, more to come later on. We know, according to the head teacher, there is one offer on the table, but that deal, the finances have got to be secured before Friday. That's the deadline.
Justin Daly, thank you very much.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy show this morning. 03459 455 555 is the phone number. Here's another a very sad story. The family of a 69-year-old woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. A coroner found there was a gross failure in the case of Eileen Smith. Eileen's niece, Leslie Dean, and her husband, Keith, say that both doctors and nurses didn't even read a special folder which set out her disability needs. Well, I think both Leslie and Keith join me now. Is that right? Have I got both of you there?
Yes, we're both here, thanks. Good
Excellent.
morning.
I appreciate you coming on this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
No, that's fine.
Tell me about Eileen. What was she like?
Eileen was a lovely lady. She really was nice. She lived most of her life in care, but she had a real outgoing personality. She had a great laugh, which would light up the whole room. She loved her Elvis.
Oh dear. Well, we're not all perfect, I'm afraid. We're not all perfect.
Yeah. But, yes.
What were her needs? How did her learning difficulties impact on her daily life?
Well, she would just sit quietly most of the time doing her knitting. She loved to knit. She'd knit for England, actually, to be honest.
Fantastic.
And she loved to be with other people. We'd take her out bowling. She was at Chambers Grove in Welwyn Garden, and they had their own team there looking after the clients. It was excellent behaviour for them. They had... regularly they'd have theme nights like that, Elvis nights or country and western nights and discos and stuff like that. But herself, I mean, she would shuffle around and she could have a very, very limited conversation with her. She was always saying she was okay. That would be her favourite comment. But her needs were fairly limited. She had need attention. She wasn't able to express herself or communicate that well.
Right. What went wrong? What went wrong, Keith?
Well, if you name it, it went wrong, really, basically. It's a matter of where do we start? It wasn't a matter of like one person making a mistake, which would be bad enough, but it's like a systematic failure throughout her time that she was in hospital. She went in basically with vomiting and shortness of breath, and within, I think it was a 12-hour period, her vital signs dropped to such a dangerous level, which they should have been escalated to a doctor. You know, the notes on the bottom of the bed, they were clearly marked, and nothing was done at all whatsoever. Medical records were falsified. Nurses went on a 2-hour break on, brackets, the busiest night of their careers, which NHS staff seem to accept as the norm. Blood pressure machines, they say, weren't working. In actual fact, she had no blood pressure. More importantly, she suffered from a disability, so she should have a purple folder which goes with her to the hospital.
Yeah, explain this purple folder. Is this specifically for people with learning difficulties? And it kind of it says what's wrong and what they need, basically.
Yeah, Yeah, it's like if you imagine it's almost a workshop manual for your car. Without putting that too crudely, it's a folder that goes with the patient from whatever care or whatever place they're in before they come into the hospital, and it explains their needs, their wants, their communication skills, and more importantly, next of kin, who to contact. So once you've read that, you should be fully aware of what to expect from them and what you can do to treat them appropriately. But the hospital didn't use that. In fact, they destroyed it after she died, and on the grounds that we told them to.
Had you told them to?
No, of course not.
No, of course not. I had to ask the question.
Well, I don't know why on earth we would even consider that, because there was been absolutely no need whatsoever. In fact, it was the record of her care.
Keith, can I speak to Leslie? Would that be okay?
Yeah, just fine. Leslie's here.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Hello.
Morning, Leslie. Thanks for coming on. You were Eileen's niece. She sounds like a bit of a character.
Oh, she was. She'd laugh and laugh, and she didn't even know what she was laughing about. And then everybody else would laugh.
Beautiful.
And she'd cheer everybody up. And it's just an absolute shock, really. And the more, what happened was I put a complaint in, and the hospital themselves turned it into a serious investigation. So I received the report, and I thought, well, I read it, and it was absolutely shocking. There was more stuff in it that I realised. So I had to do something about it.
So Leslie, just go back ever slightly. Why did you put the complaint in then? What was the complaint for? And then what did you see in the report that made you think, blimey, this is worse than we thought it was?
Well, in the complaint, I had loads of questions, like why was she on no fluids for 2 or 3 days? Why, where did her X-rays come from QE2 Lister? Why didn't they call me when she was deteriorating? The main thing is I wanted to know, did they use a crash team when she had a cardiac arrest? No one could tell me, and they said, the ward said someone would tell me when they later on in the day, but nobody did. So I kept ringing the ward, can someone speak to me now? And this went on for all week. Nobody got back to me. So in the end, I decided, I've got to actually speak to somebody, and I made an appointment to see a doctor. And that was one of the first questions I asked. Did you use a crash team? And he said yes. And I said, well, why has it taken 3 weeks for somebody to tell me that? And he said, I don't know. And in the meantime, I'd written a letter of complaint with loads of other issues. And that's when he said he'd open a serious investigation. But even when I got the report for the serious investigation, I had to then submit that to the coroner, because that's not an automatic thing, apparently. If I didn't do it, then the coroner wouldn't know. So I wrote to him, I sent a copy to the coroner, and I said, did you all know all this was going on? And he agreed to have an inquest. So
I hope this doesn't sound patronising. I think the two of you are brilliant because, when someone passes, you kind of want to mourn their passing, not get stuck into a load of argy-bargy with a hospital.
No, and it's all it's been like the whole year.
Yeah.
It's just been one big fight. And we haven't really grieved for Eileen yet, because it's just all about letters and solicitors and the hospital and the stress and the upset and finding out other things, and it's just been crazy. It really has.
I'm going to say this, and I realise it's going to sound a bit clumsy, and I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Is it done for you now? And by that I mean this whole kind of, the letter writing, emailing stage. Is it done? Can you now move on and grieve for Eileen?
I can now. I finally feel that we have got justice for Eileen. Hopefully the hospital will make changes and follow them through. I do not want this to happen to any other disabled person or any vulnerable person. And the more people know about it, the better. Because things in hospitals are going on that we don't know about. And if you don't ask questions, and if you don't, pull them up on a few things, then they get away with it.
Finally, Leslie, I'm going to be speaking to Angela Thompson, the Director of Nursing at the Lister Hospital. Is there anything you'd like me to say to her?
Just please follow through the changes and just help vulnerable people in hospital. Because it's really important.
I'm laughing because isn't it sad that we have to stress that? Isn't it sad we have to stress help vulnerable people in hospital? We put our loved ones in there. We go in there at our most vulnerable, and you would kind of expect that to be the norm. And sadly, as Eileen Smith's case proves, it's not always, is it?
It's not at all. No, they're places where they don't know anybody, especially if they've got no family or anything. That's it. That would be even worse, and also, they are people. They have feelings and wants, but in a different way. And we're not all the same, And people, the hospital and the staff have got to understand disabled people and the fact they can't express themselves, they can't express pain. And really, reading between the lines, that's what they have to do.
Reading between the lines. Listen, it sounds like Eileen was very lucky to have you and Keith on her side. So you should be very proud of yourselves, and you can go on and, mourn Eileen. And I really appreciate you sharing your story with us this morning, Leslie. Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. That's Leslie and Keith Dean. If someone dies, you just want to, get on with mourning their death, not get involved in a whole legal minefield. What brave people. And I realise it sounds patronising when I say that, but I do mean it genuinely. Right, where are we? 7:30, let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Looking busy now on the M1 going south between Luton Airport Junction 10 and 9 for Redbourne. On the A5 going south at Marquee 8, it's busy between Lynch Hill and the motorway at Redbourne. In Clophill on Bedford Road, that's looking slow between Back Street going into the A507. On the M25, heavy anti-clockwise between Junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40, and around Junction 19 for Watford. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
With the headlines, I'm Simon Oxley. An offer has been made to buy a Buckinghamshire special school threatened with closure. Penn School near High Wycombe is set to close at the end of the month and is being run by administrators. Parents met with the head teacher last night. Evidence has been removed from a central London address used by Lord Sewell. He says he won't return to the Lords until police inquiries are completed, but the president of the Lib Dems, Lady Sal Brinton from Hertfordshire, says he should go now. And the family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. Lawyers for the family say the coroner's findings recognise that multiple failings in Eileen Smith's care contributed to the cause of her death.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The pre-season football friendlies continue this evening. Watford make the trip to Wales to play Cardiff. The Hornets added new signing number 10 yesterday, with Dutch winger Steven Berghuis joining from AZ Alkmaar for a fee believed to be around £4 million. Milton Keynes Dons host Spanish side Getafe in their first friendly at Stadium MK, the match dedicated to Chief Scout Andy King, who passed away at the end of May. Luton host Brentford. Still no word from the Hatters on the future of trialist striker Craig McHale-Smith, and Wycombe are away to Basingstoke. In Formula One, Renault have described the Milton Keynes Red Bull team as high maintenance. It's part of an ongoing spat between the two about the quality of the engines the French team are supplying. Racing's Glorious Goodwood gets underway today with a new title. Meanwhile, champion jockey Richard Hughes retires at the end of the 5 days to switch from riding to training. Here's Cornelius Lysett.
Technically, it's no longer Glorious Goodwood after a multi-million-pound sponsorship deal with Qatar, though such a famous name is likely to stick over the 5 days, during which time Richard Hughes is favourite to be top jockey on a track where he's enjoyed notable successes over the years, particularly with retired trainer Richard Hannon and now Richard Hannon Jr. Hughes retires on Saturday and hopes to saddle runners in the autumn. His mounts today include 2p in the feature, the Lennox Stakes, though his best chance could be on Papa Luigi at 4.55.
And in cricket, England and Australia complete their preparations at Edgbaston today ahead of tomorrow's third Ashes test. England's women lost by 89 runs to Australia in their latest one-day international yesterday at Worcester. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Passiamo noi e la gente ci guarda ed amico un po'. Ci chiamano i monkeys, siamo meno matti di chi si crede più intelligente di noi che la pensiamo così. Comunque parliamo, non è giusto mai, c'è sempre qualcuno che ne sa più di noi. Ecco qua, passiamo noi e la gente ci guarda ed amico un po'. Ci chiamano i monkeys, siamo meno matti di chi si crede più intelligente di noi che la pensiamo così. Comunque parliamo, non è giusto mai.
Yeah, I know all the words.
C'è qualcuno che
Mr. Buninoy. I mean, I know it phonetically. Whether it's accurate, I don't have a clue. 03459 455 555. Did I get the phone number right then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well that's bonus. Ci chiamo due monkeys. Why are you laughing? I can speak for them.
Because you actually know it. But you don't really know what you're saying.
I don't know what I'm saying.
No.
I don't know what I'm saying, but I know the words. Right, so we're asking this morning if someone rocked up at your door, knocked on the door, said, "Hey, I used to live here. Could I come and have a look around?" Would you let them in? I did it yesterday, kind of. Wow. Who's the heartless texter? Talking about, I'm guessing 7:21. Had we moved on to the story about Eileen? I think we had at 7:21, hadn't we?
Let me do a refresh.
Do a refresh, because someone's texted boring. Yeah. Let's just hope that your aunt never dies needlessly in hospital. Shame on you. 7850. What a horrible person. Don't want you listening to my show anymore. Bye bye.
My favourite text is the one that was sent in at 6:31.
Go on. What was that?
Knockers.
Oh, man alive. I don't send in a text about boring when it's either a story about autistic kids or a disabled woman dying needlessly. Either way, you're a heartless...
Easy,
tiger. And don't want you listening to my show anymore. Iain, we're also asking, do you feel sorry for Lord Sewell? Iain, how can you feel sorry for the Lord? How can you feel sorry for Lord What's-His-Face for spending our money on drugs and prostitutes? Well, it's not your money, it's his money. It's his money. It's like saying that I can't spend my money on drugs and prostitutes because it's coming from the licence fee. Well, it's my money. I think, actually, that's not the strongest argument I could have come up with there. Now I think about it. 03459 455 5... Whoa, hey!
What's this?
Hi, Jack. Look at this. Hi, Jack.
Breaking news.
What's
breaking news? Mr. Sewell just resigned from the Lords. Just resigned a second ago.
It was inevitable.
Yep. That's just literally happened, boss.
It was inevitable, and he in crisis management. You're right. There we go. Okay. In crisis management, you should have perhaps stepped in immediately and said, "Yeah, I'm out." But I feel really sorry for the geezer.
Do you know what?
Not condoning what he did.
No.
But he did something in the privacy of his bedroom. Yeah. People were paid. Everybody consented. What's it got to do with me?
Yeah, I rarely agree with you, boss, but on this one, I have to say, I'm with you on this one.
And also, I heard this point on, I'll give him credit, on James O'Brien's show on LBC yesterday. We're hearing more in the front pages about Lord Sewell, a man who had consensual sex with two women consensually, than we are about, dead or living alleged paedophile MPs who've had sex with children. Yeah. That's kind of tucked away page 12 of the newspapers. And this fella, I couldn't care. Listen, can he do his job? Yep. Okay, great. Yeah. I couldn't care less what he gets up to in his bedroom. As long as everyone's there giving their thumbs up. Again, if that's what he wants, thumbs up, then beautiful. As long as everyone is there and is happy to be there and is consensual, then fine. I couldn't care less. Nothing to do with me.
I'm going to put this out there, and some people will hate me for saying this, but it's something which we often go back to with stories like this, and my street reports will come in a second, but a lot of people, could they be jealous of the fact that he is earning such a decent wage and he's got the money to do that sort of thing? I'm just putting it out there.
Put it out there. Speaking about putting it out there again, he's done that. You've put it out there on the streets.
Yes, I've taken this one to the streets asking people, have they got any sympathy for Lord Sewell? Here's what the streets had to say.
I do not, mate, at all, no.
Tell me why.
Because a person in that position of power really shouldn't be abusing it to such an extent as he did with, prostitutes.
But is he abusing his power? He's paying like anybody else would do. And everyone's made mistakes.
Yeah, well, they have certainly, but, in certain situations, when you're in a position of power, as I say, he's a politician, he shouldn't be seen to be doing those things. They should be the best of us. They shouldn't be the worst, if anything.
They shouldn't be doing things like that?
No, certainly not,
Ill-fitting bra as well, I'd say. Madam, have you got any sympathy at all?
No, none.
Don't we all make mistakes in life? You don't feel sorry for him just a little bit?
No.
Lovely baseball cap, sir. Have you got any sympathy for him?
None at all.
Come on, tell me why. Haven't we all made mistakes in life?
No, not like that, no.
Seeing that photograph at the weekend, what was your first reaction when you saw it?
I just thought it's just typical.
Handsome man, any sympathy from your end?
No. People like that should be just kicked out of Parliament.
Haven't we all done things in our...
Oh, I'm sorry, I pressed stop
all right,
by
mate.
mistake. Give us a little recap of the gentleman at the end. I do apologise.
Yeah, he was just saying that he's got absolutely no sympathy. It's a shame that you missed the Prince perspective.
Oh, it's Prince on there.
Yes.
Well, because of this system, I haven't got a way of jumping. Have I got a way
No,
of jumping?
it's fine. It's fine. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll play Prince a bit later on. But Prince said that he had no sympathy, but strangely he thought the bra was quite nice.
Okay, well we'll clip it. We'll make sure that gets played a little bit later on. Thank you, Justin.
Sorry, boss.
You can go now.
Okay, thanks very much.
That's what I'm saying by that.
Yeah.
Get out of my studio! Oh, I tell you what. The blokes that sing like girls, please.
No problem.
He's such a plum. I love it. Thank you, mate. Blokes that sing like girls. 0345. I keep giving the phone number out. You don't call anymore, and I'm absolutely fine with that. About to have a baby? Are you about to have a baby, Kels?
No, but thank you for asking.
Oh, you're welcome. Would you like to?
No, but thank you for asking.
You're welcome. About to have a baby? Why not invite your friends along to watch? Oh, God, no. No. Once, no man would have dreamed of being present in the room as his wife was giving birth. Yeah, you get people, the blokes will be down the pub, getting boozed up, and you get a phone call in the... It's Stephen! It's your missus on the phone. It's a boy! Drinks all red! Now you've got to be there, and why is the blooming thing popping out? Then opinions changed, and the father was expected to be there and share in all the pain and joy. But now it seems that so many people are crowding into the delivery suite, you could almost sell tickets. Flipping it. A survey of 2,000 mothers had found that those in their 20s or teens... This is not true. Are taking an average of 8 people into the birthing room with them. Move it further down, because I'll play it later. And that doesn't include the midwife or other medical staff. 8 people! Who are you going to take in there? The father of the child, and say, your husband, how terribly old-fashioned. Carpet Martin sent a very funny tweet. Have you seen that? If you can't slip a young lady a couple of brown notes and party like it's 1999, then what's the point of being a lord? So the father of the child, your mum, maybe, but that I still think that's weird. So that's 2 max. So that's 3. Tops. He's not coming in. Not after last time. Embarrassed himself. The survey conducted by a website said that women now aged in their 60s typically had only their partner alongside the midwife present when they gave birth. Women in their 50s, this is doubled to 2. Siobhan Freegard, founder of the website I'm not going to mention, said the younger generation are used to sharing every aspect of their lives, so why not birth? Have we had? There must be, pregnancy selfies. There's got to be a selfie, as it's, like on a really long selfie stick. It's coming out. Click. Come in here!
I took one on the operating theatre.
What? Well, first of all, you didn't have a baby.
Well, I didn't. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't.
Well, that's why I had my hands free. She was busy, so
I'm confused.
Why? What's she doing with her hands?
Well,
She
because
doesn't-
she
she
was
doesn't need
under
hands to have a baby.
She was under anaesthetic, so she couldn't actually move.
Right. So hang on. Who took a selfie?
Me.
Of what?
Of us.
Well, that's not a selfie.
Yeah, it is.
Are you in it?
Yeah.
Well, that's a selfie then. What's your point? I don't understand.
I was saying
why-
I did a pregnancy selfie.
But
is what I'm
as it
saying.
was coming out.
Well, I couldn't really because the doctors
Thank
were
you.
doing their thing.
Thank you.
But you don't want that selfie down the business.
That's
end,
what
do you?
I'm on. That's what
Oh,
I'm
I
talking.
did.
Pay
sorry, I didn't-
attention. When is
sorry.
Kath back?
Sorry.
2 weeks.
Oh God.
It's not me next week though.
Thank. Well, I know.
Oh,
thank goodness.
no.
Oh, why is it?
No.
You know? Oh.
Oh.
Oh, do you know?
Who is it?
Yeah, it's Lockers, isn't
Oh,
it?
for crying out loud. The research also shows there is a downside to giving birth in front of an audience. Mothers are increasingly refusing to take pain relief because they fear they'll be What a load of old rubbish! What a load of old guff!
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's busy going south on the M1 between Luton Airport Junction 10 and 9 for Redbourne. In Mark 8 on the A5 going south, that's looking busy too on the cameras and the sensors going towards the motorway at Redbourne. Clop Hill on Bedford Road, the A6 slow between Back Street and the A507. Coming down onto the M25 on the North Orbital Road, that's looking busy at Junction 21A. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's busy between Junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. Also anti-clockwise around Junction 19 for Watford. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Tom. Clicking on the button for the news. 7:46. It is Tuesday, the 28th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. According to the headmistress of Penn School, an offer has been made to buy the special school in Buckinghamshire, which is set to close on Friday. In the last few minutes, Lord Sewell has resigned from the House of Lords following claims he snorted cocaine with prostitutes. And the family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. Let's get the weather. Here's Sarah.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. Yes, we've got some sunny spells starting to develop across the three counties at the moment. Actually, it looks like some parts have still got quite a bit of cloud, but there are some nice breaks in Bedfordshire and starting to arrive in Buckinghamshire as well. So things are improving, and actually we're set to have a dry day today with a top temperature somewhere up in the high teens, 17, 18 Celsius, something of that order, slightly tempered by the breezy westerly winds. So it's sunny spells and generally dry for the rest of the day today. You might catch a late evening shower. Tomorrow, very similar actually, although we get a northwesterly wind setting in for tomorrow, and that northwesterly wind will just make it feel even a smidge cooler at 16 or 17 degrees. In the middle part of the afternoon, we'll run the risk of a couple of showers coming through as well, and actually they will move through quite quickly. Thursday, Friday and Saturday, we've got pressure building across the west of the UK, so as high pressure builds in, kills off the threat of any showers. The winds become lighter, more favourable direction from the south and southwest, so warming up a little towards the weekend and dry and fine at 19 or 20 Celsius.
Thank you very much indeed.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
So when I was on, we went away the other day, and it was on a farm, and there was an honesty shop in the farm. Do you know what an honesty shop is, Kelly?
Yes.
What is it?
It's
where they sell honesty, correct, thank you. But also there's another type of honesty shop, one where you go in and you write down what you're going to take, and then you settle then, or you settle it at the end of the week. W.H. Smith did it for a while with their newspapers, and then they stopped doing it. Do you know why they stopped doing it, Kelly?
Theft.
Exactly. Because we're not an honest nation. I may or may not have added some chicken fillets to the honesty list in this shop. I don't know. I don't remember. Crazy days. Well, a woman in Toddington is warming people let's get it from the horse's mouth. No disrespect. It's Mary Ann Smith. Morning. Now, is it Mary or Mary Ann? I always get confused when there are so many first names.
It's Mary Ann.
Mary Ann, thank you. Now, you run Country Blooms Florist in Toddington. What happened?
Well, we have like an honesty box outside with our free-range eggs that we produce. Well, not personally, but chickens produced.
Gosh, that would be something, wouldn't it?
And basically on Sunday, I went out. We don't open on a Sunday, so I went out on Sunday afternoon. Was only gone for about an hour. When I came back, looked on the trolley, and all our eggs were stolen. So I looked in the box, and there was 50p in there. So somebody obviously was.
And how many eggs had they nicked?
About five or six trays. They're about $5.50 a tray, and a few loose boxes that was on there as well.
Oh, flipping heck! You got no idea. You got no idea who did it. You got. I don't suppose you put CCTV on your honesty eggs, have you?
we did have CCTV. We could see the car pull on and two guys get out and help themselves and drive off. Basically.
Oh, what utter scumbags!
Yeah.
You've put this out on on Facebook, and I hate to say the SM word. You put these out on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Have you had any response? Anybody been able to help?
Well, we're just basically people like saying, it's such a shame, and local customers that come in and buy them. It's just horrible, really. That people could just help themselves. So, I mean, it wasn't any. I didn't recognise the people that did it. I think they were just passing through the village and just took the opportunity to help themselves. Really.
Are you going to keep putting your eggs out the front, or are you going to keep them in the back now?
Definitely keep them out the front.
You're still going to carry on?
Yeah, because I've got lots of local customers and my neighbours that come along and buy them. So perhaps might not put out so many at one time.
Yeah.
But it's like it's all part of the community sort of spirit that people come along, and they are honest people. That's not what happens. I think once before I lost a few extra ones, but most of the time, majority of people are honest.
What are you going to do with 200 eggs? Because if you eat that many eggs in a weekend, you're going to get egg bound.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Mary-Ann, listen, you keep on putting your eggs on display and hoping people put a tip in your box. That's all we can hope for. Outrageous behaviour. Outrageous behaviour. 03459 455 555. So Lord Sewell has resigned, and here's the thing, dear listener. I think he is wrong to have resigned. It was inevitable he was going to, inevitable that he would be forced to. I think it's wrong that he's resigned. He should have come out and said, do you know what? I did this, right? I paid for this. It was a little bit naughty, but I did it in the privacy of my bedroom. I mean, the worst scandal, if the word scandal could be applied to Lord Sewell, that I can see is that he's got a wife. And, what a way for a wife to find out that her husband's not everything he claims to be. That's where the real sadness is. But in the great scheme of things, a man paying two women to have it away and do drugs, were they all there willingly? Yeah. Did anyone get hurt? Only if they asked for it. Cheeky. Does it impact on my life in any way whatsoever? Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. It has no impact on my life. I couldn't care less. Is he good at his job? He's all right, is he? Brilliant. Let the fella keep doing it. I don't get where the impact is in my life. I'm going to put this out there. Lord Sewell, I've got nothing but sympathy for the man. And I don't think he should be out of a job. I think he should still be in his job. Being a Lord's not a proper job, actually, is it? Come to think of it. 03459 455 555. I think that it's bang out of order that he's lost his job. This is interesting. I can't work this out either, Sue. Where the hidden camera came from? Who put the hidden camera in there? It must have been one of the prostitutes. I'm kind of angry with the prostitute because she has betrayed his trust. He's literally bought her trust, and she's gone, yeah, okay. While you're off going to the toilet, I'm just going to put this clock on your mantelpiece, and you just keep. See, when we're having it away, could you just make sure you keep facing the clock, just so we know what the time is, because we're on the meter. So we'll have a little look. Come on, guys, and ladies, you must all feel nothing but pure sympathy for Lord Sewell. He's been stitched up like a kipper. 03459 455 555, or you can text 81333. Start your text 3CR. Excuse me. Here comes my theme song.
There once was a wealthy man who had a wonderful idea to bring children from all places with all kinds of faces together into a sailing ship. There were 40 boys and girls. They would sail their ship around the globe, so they called it the United World. The ship was just 3 weeks from shore when a hurricane bore it down. The waves were big as mountains. They felt they would surely drown. They jumped into the lifeboats, rowed away from the wreck. They didn't count them, they hadn't time. 5 children were left behind. The children fought the storm all night, then finally fell asleep. They didn't realize the ship had been blown across a reef into the Lost Islands.
But
hiding in the bushes was a watchful pair of eyes, and living in the valley were people lost in time, ruled over by a tyrant whose face was in a mask. The children must defeat him so they can escape at last from the Lost Islands. The Lost Islands.
Who's that tweeting? Is it Scott that's tweeted that? My favourite element to the Seal story is that he paid one of the prostitutes with a cheque. I mean, I think, if anything, that shows how out of touch the Lords are. With a cheque? I got asked to write a cheque, to send a cheque the other day. And I think, where the flipping hell's my chequebook? I've got no idea where my chequebook is. Turns out it's in the plastic box in the airing cupboard with all the stuff we don't use anymore and some cables. The chequebook was in there. Who the hell uses cheques anymore? And in fact, when I wrote this cheque, it was about 3 months ago. It took me 3 attempts because I couldn't remember how to write a cheque. I couldn't remember where you put where do I write the name here? Then you've got to put the only and the lines. Muff that bad boy up. Muffed it up big time, mate. It was an awful situation to be in. Seriously, I've never been in a worse situation than when it took me 7 minutes to try and write a cheque. Felt terrible. It's like this contact list. I don't get the contact list, right? And you go, and the number of times they've got a contact list machine, and you stand there holding it, and they go, "No, we don't have a contact list." You've got a contact list machine. Why would you? No. So you stood there going. So now I find myself tapping it, going, "Does this work?" And I say, "No, you've got to put it in." Well, then why have you got the machine? And then you've got to cover this. Really, It angers me. It violently angers me. Whoever that is, put them straight through. Just whack them straight through. Just put them through, even if they're a racist. Like that stops us putting anybody through. 03459 455 555. Mark, what you got? You're not a racist, are you, Mark?
No.
That's a shame. Never mind, what you got?
You're talking about this law now. It doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
It does affect you.
How?
He helps make up our laws.
Right.
He contributes to making the laws of this country.
So how does him taking cocaine and having sex with 2 prostitutes affect me?
Well, first of all, he's breaking the law.
Which law has he broken?
Well, you're not supposed to take cocaine, are you?
What, you're not supposed
to buy the stuff, are you?
Well, do you know for a fact it's cocaine? Because no one does. And it's all alleged at the moment.
I don't know. We're going by what the press says.
Well, you have to question everything's in the press. We don't know. We don't know that he's taken cocaine. There's a picture of him snorting some powder. Might be cocaine. We don't know. And also, him taking cocaine.
Then bring the press to task as well to prove it.
He's done what?
Bring the press to task to prove it.
Well.
Why should they be able to put all this out if they can't?
Well, let's focus on Lord Shaw. Let's worry about the Sun. That's another phone in. Him taking cocaine. How does that impact on my life?
He's making up. So you would be quite happy for him to be dosed up and go into the Commons and be making.
But there's no. I love your phrase "dosed up." There's no no one's suggesting he's dosed up when he goes into the House of Commons or the House of Lords.
Yeah, but the thing is...
Why does it... Let's be very specific, Mark. Why does him taking cocaine in his flat on his own time have any impact on my life whatsoever?
Right, it impairs their judgment.
No.
Matter, look, you get these medical people on and so
Doctors.
forth. This stuff does not wear out of your system overnight.
Yeah, okay, but
not like drink. I mean, drink. Maybe 48 hours and it's pretty much out of your system. But like when you have all this sort of stuff, it makes your judgment wrong. Mark, with the greatest respect, and
I appreciate you calling, Mark. Do call again. I don't think... we don't know when he was next in. We don't know when he was next voting on anything. I don't understand why an old man taking cocaine in his flat... It sounds a bit sad to me. I feel a bit sorry for the geezer, but why... does that have an impact on my life? 03459 455 555. I say it now, Lord Sewell should not have been kicked out of his job.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Queues coming into London on the A40. There's a lane blocked because of a breakdown after the Medway underpass. It's busy from the Swickley's roundabout back past RAF North Holt. The M25 anti-clockwise heavy between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tom, thank you very much indeed. Someone's tweeted, texted, if you believe no one was hurt by this former Lord's action, you probably missed the part where he said disgusting things about Asian girls. I did. I'm going to look that up. But again, if he said it in the privacy of his own flat, does that have an impact on me?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: Lord Sewell resigns, offer made for Buckinghamshire Special School, and lawyer hopes Stevenage Hospital will apologise over woman's death.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In the past half hour, Lord Sewell has announced he's leaving the House of Lords after the allegations he took drugs with prostitutes. He's apologised for the pain and embarrassment he's caused. Robin Brandt is at Westminster.
That is a very unusual step. It's something that members of the House of Lords haven't been able to do until very recently, but the pressure on Lord Sewell has been immense since those revelations were made in The Sun on Sunday about drug use and prostitutes. So he was on an extended absence from this place while these allegations were being investigated. But as I said, the pressure has been immense.
An offer has been made to buy a Buckinghamshire Special School threatened with closure. Penn School near High Wycombe is set to close at the end of the month and is being run by administrators. Parents who have criticised the role of the school's trustees met with the head teacher last night. Head Mary Richardson was able to give them the latest update from the administrators.
There are still 6 interested parties, but only one offer. And that's being negotiated at the moment. The word that she used was that talks were progressing. I'm certainly very happy. It's given us a lot of hope, and we're just hoping that on Friday a firm offer will be accepted.
Legal experts say a landmark Court of Appeal ruling in favour of a Hertfordshire woman has dealt a major blow to the rights of people to choose who they want to leave money to in their wills. Heather Eilert from Ware has been awarded £164,000 from the estate of her mother, even though she clearly stated she didn't want Mrs Eilert to get a penny. A senior manager in the NHS from Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge has spoken of his frustration at having to recruit large numbers of nurses from abroad. Figures from the UK's nursing regulator show the recruitment of overseas staff is rising, with most foreign nurses now coming from other parts of the European Union. The family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. Lawyers for the family say the coroner's findings recognise that multiple failings in Eileen Smith's care contributed to the cause of her death. Lawyer Mary Varney says the hospital trust has yet to apologise to the family.
Although we welcome the changes that the trust has made, and there is no doubt that Eileen's legacy is that patients are safer at the Lister Hospital, I'd like to see them take them step as a real acknowledgement of the harm that they caused.
Network Rail say 2 options have been identified for a proposed Bedford to Cambridge rail link, one via Hitchin, the other via Sandy. It says they offer the best value for money at this stage, and more work will be done to choose one preferred option before actual routes are planned. In sport, pre-season football friendlies continue this evening. Watford make the trip to Wales to play Cardiff. Milton Keynes Dons host the Spanish side Getafe in their first friendly at Stadium MK. Luton host Brentford and Wickham are away to Basingstoke. The weather, sunny spells, still the risk of a shower, a maximum temperature 19 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. So I'm going to put it out there. Lord Sewell is, I'm not going to say one of the most honourable people, but when was the last time you saw someone fall on their sword? I don't mean, don't you make your own jokes up, you mucky pups. I don't think we actually saw anyone fall on his sword, but he stood up and said, you know what, I got busted, I did wrong, I've resigned. I think you've got to respect that, haven't you? I have primarily sympathy for Lord Sewell. He's been stitched up like a kipper. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to talk about that.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Okie dokie dokie daddy. Parents at Penn School have been told an offer has been made to save the school. This is despite me getting an email from the administrators last night at 7:08 saying an offer hadn't been made. It's all very, very confusing. Justin, there was a meeting last night. You were there. What happened?
I was indeed. The administrators, Deloitte, were not present at this meeting at the school. It was just the parents and, surprise, surprise, no trustees. Now, the head teacher was there, Mary Richardson. She spoke to me afterwards and she explained about this deal, which apparently is on the table. So we were told last week from the administrators that there were 5 interested parties. Of those 5, one of them has made an offer.
Which completely contradicts the email I got last night, which is confusing.
She had a conference call with Deloitte and they confirmed to her and some of the members and staff there that this offer is definitely on the table. However, they need until Friday to secure the funds. Otherwise, the school will unfortunately close. So that's the very latest. Lots of parents there, lots of emotion. Here's what one parent had to say last night.
What about your child in September? Have you got a placement yet?
No, nothing. I've got to look at facilities that are currently closed with no students. Well, I think I'm expected to accept something that is not working and functional.
Tell us what happened to your child when he went to a mainstream school.
He was bullied, he was called really horrible names referring to his disabilities and differences.
Can you tell us what those names were?
Yeah, it was spastic and retard, because he attended a communications base in a mainstream school setting, secondary.
You explained that this evening to the council about why your child simply cannot go into a mainstream school. Do you think those concerns were taken seriously?
No, absolutely not.
Justin, stay there because you're waving an email at me. We're going to come to that in a second. This story is just going on and keeps shifting as we talk about it. But the chair of the meeting last night and a parent of one of the kids that goes to the school is Amanda Burgess. Amanda joins me now. Morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Ian.
What was the meeting? What did you hope to achieve with the meeting last night?
Well, we hope to get an update on where the position is. We knew Deloitte weren't coming because they'd already informed us of that. But we'd had some email correspondence with them that I was able to feed back. And I'm really surprised at the email you received from the trustees to say there is no offer, because Deloitte had informed us that there was an offer on the table. There were 5 interested parties, of which one had withdrawn.
Okay.
But
Let me just read this out, because I've got an email that sent at 7:08 last night from Lee from Deloitte. So I won't give his last name.
Right.
He says nothing has been sold to any third party, nor is any of the land or buildings under offer. We're still trying to find someone who's prepared to buy the school as a going concern. There are restrictive covenants on the land. That contradicts what you've been told.
That does, which is a bit surprising. So, and also, We have the minutes that Mary went through yesterday saying that there was an offer on the table. So we know there are interested parties. I was contacted by somebody completely separately over the weekend, and they are seriously looking at it. They haven't made an offer yet. There's nothing on the table, but they are seriously looking at it. And, there is still hope. And while there's hope, we're still going to fight.
Okay. Because Deloitte's a bit. I wrote an email yesterday to. Is Kerry McLeish, isn't it, one of the trustees?
That's correct, yeah.
And I literally begged her to come on the show. I said she could have all morning if she wanted. She didn't reply. Hugh Forsyth, another one of the trustees, when my colleague Sophie Solaria phoned his home, spoke to his wife. She said, I'll just get him. Hugh, it's a phone call. It's BBC Three Counties. And Sophie heard being shouted down the stairs, I have no interest in ever speaking to BBC Three Counties radio. Okay. So the trustees, they're going to issue, they've said, a scripted question and answer. They're going to put it on the Penn School website. So they're going to set the questions, they're going to answer the questions.
No, well, that's wonderful. I mean,
that was my response. Wonderful, yeah.
I mean, apart from the fact nobody's looking at the website anyway, because it just says the school's gone into administration, so nobody will look at that website anyway, so that's pointless. To be honest, I also emailed both of those trustees. I mean, don't just highlight those two trustees. There are an awful lot more of them.
You're absolutely right.
Very, very quiet.
Yeah.
And Kerry, to her credit, is a new trustee. She's only been there a matter of months. And she was brought in, I think, right at the end. And she has tried to help, and she has communicated with me directly.
Well, that's great that she's communicated with you.
And she said that she will. We've got some questions over the financial accounts, and she's going to work on that and come back with some answers.
Well, this is what I want to bring Justin into the conversation, because there's a question over £800,000, isn't there, Just? What's this
there
about?
is, and maybe Amanda can explain this for us as well, because we have actually got a response on this. You were talking there about the financial accounts. Can you tell us exactly what you've looked into?
Well, we've been looking at the public statement of accounts that are logged with the Charities Commission, and it shows that there, at the end of the financial year 2014, there were financial reserves in the trust of about 1.5 million. However, it also showed that there were creditors, the people that were owed money, of around 700,000. So obviously the difference there is around 800,000. So we wanted just to find out and get some answers as to what has happened in the last year, and what, because if you looked at those accounts, you would think the trust was in a fairly okay financial position.
I have to say, of course, we're not in any way at the moment suggesting that anything not dodgy has happened, or that there is anything, there is any foul play. We just want to know where that money is.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the email I've got here. So you're talking about £800,000. As Iain was saying, you simply want to know what's happened to that. How's it been spent since last year? I put that question to Deloitte last night on an email. They responded at 7:15 this morning saying they are going to look into this and get back to us. So that there is some form of update there as to that £800,000 and what's happened to it since April 2014.
Amanda, it feels... to me, slightly more optimistic than it did a week ago. Would you agree?
To be honest, it changes day by day.
Yeah.
One day we feel, there's some hope. The next day we think it's all lost again. I mean, it was really heartening to hear Dominic Grieve speak this morning, because hopefully he can raise this as a national issue. It is a national issue. This is a really important school for children across the whole country, not just in Buckinghamshire and the local authorities. It's a really important school to all children and future children with speech, language, deaf, communication needs.
It's interesting, isn't it, Amanda, that Dominic Grieve, who the school isn't in his constituency, has been talking to parents and was more than happy to come on and talk to us. And Steve Baker, the MP for High Wycombe, where the school is based, doesn't want to talk to us again, and we still don't know if he's spoken to any of the parents.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, he did email me eventually after last week, and he wouldn't speak to me, but my own MP then telephoned me and we had a conversation.
Good.
But that was more around supporting me to find a new placement for my school. He's not able to help me to save Penn. Where Steve Baker, if you read anything he's put in the media, he's negative. Whereas Dominic Grieve was really positive this morning. OK, he's realistic, I would say.
And realistic, yes, I'll give you that.
Supportive in the right way, and he understands the need of this school. And that was really fantastic to hear that. And I also am really pleased Councillor Mohammed came on the radio today. You know, we gave him a hard time yesterday as parents. We had lots of questions, and we're going to be emailing him later today with a whole list of other questions that we want him to take back to Bucks officers, because they're still missing the point. They're all focusing on being supportive and finding placements for our children, but they don't need to find placements. There is a place there. They just need to find a way of saving pen or extending this stay of execution so we can all look properly and not, like the other mum said, look at schools now that are closed. How can you judge where your child can go if the building is shut up for the summer? It's ridiculous. And I think at some point somebody's got to get realistic about this.
All right, Amanda, listen, we will keep talking. Thank you very much indeed. The texter, whose phone number ends 7850, jog on. Jog on, you sad sack. Second time we've done this story this morning. Second text they've sent in boring.
Well, do you know what?
Jog on, loser. I don't listen to my show.
That person, go back and listen on the iPlayer to the parent we heard from earlier on, because it was too graphic to play at this time. Go back and listen to that, because we're talking about...
That person
do it.
won't get it. That person won't get it. That person's a selfish idiot that just wants me to sit here and talk about... What have you turned your 7-inch records into? Have you ever? Which actually is quite a good phone-in. Jot that down. We'll do that tomorrow. What have you turned your 7? Have you made a bowl? If you could turn, here we go. Actually, this is quite good. Thank you for this. If you could turn any 7-inch record into a bowl, which record would you use, and what would you eat from it?
I'll tell you what. How about
03459 455 555? Thank you,
Rupert Holmes, the Pina Colada song.
Oh!
Yeah, come on.
I listened to the lyrics of the Pina Colada song.
Genius.
Because it starts off, you hate the guy. Yeah. You hate the guy because he's cheating on his wife, right? Because he's got bored with his lady. Yeah. Right. So he meets this person in the thing. You know who it turns out to be? Go on. It's his lady who put the advert. What an unhappy, dysfunctional relationship those two are involved in.
Stitched.
The Pina, what's it called?
The Pina Colada song.
Thank you very much indeed. What song would I? And what would you have? What would you eat in it? Would you have a Pina Colada in it?
No. Do you know what? The new beats, bread and butter.
And what would you eat in it?
I would put my bread and butter in that bowl.
Phones are actually going mental for this. All right, okay. In that case, if I had to 7-inch record into a bowl, Musical Youth, Pass the Duchy.
Get in there.
And I'd use it for my dog ends. No, I wouldn't. I would use it. I would use it for my rice and pea and thing. Yeah.
Legend.
03459 455 555. If you had to melt a record into a bowl, which record would it be? And what would you eat from it?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Going into London on the A40, there's a lane blocked because of a breakdown. That's just before the Medway underpass. There are queues from the Swakesey's roundabout in Uxbridge. The M1 going south, that's heavy between junction 10 for Luton Airport and 9 for Redbourne. The A1M coming south as well. That looks slow around the Stevenage junctions, 8 to 7. Cheshunt on the A10. It's slow coming into the M25 at Enfield, junction 25. On the M25 anti-clockwise, you'll find that's heavy between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 16 for the M40. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Catch me if you can.
Thank you very much, Tom. Where are we now? 8:17. It's Tuesday, the 28th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Lord Sewell has announced he's leaving the House of Lords after the allegations he took drugs with prostitutes. An offer has been made to buy Penn Special School in Buckinghamshire, which is set to close on Friday. And the family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable.
Every weekday from 3.
The East of England Ambulance Service are urging us to stay safe in the heat and take sensible precautions. Barry is in Bedford. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Rob. Right, I've got a little story about bad breath, and it's quite embarrassing, really, but I do...
Don't be embarrassed.
Roberto Peroni.
Yeah, we kiss them and cuddle them.
Oh, no, you don't kiss an animal.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So you've started an online petition to raise money to pay the Greek debt?
That's right. I was fed up with politicians going round in circles, and I thought, you know what, let's just crack on and let's see if we can do something here.
Roberto Peroni, weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tim's in for Jonathan. What have you got for us today, Tim?
Avalon 7-inch, and I'll just fill it with some lasagna.
Beautiful. By the way, for those being pedantic, if it were a liquidy-based food, of course we plug the hole up. Of course we would. That goes without saying.
Yeah,
but I've had to say
schoolboy.
it.
Schoolboy. Yes, at 9 o'clock in for JVS with the big phone in. It's one of the most read stories online today. It's a local story. It's my big phone in. Was it right for a judge to change the will of a woman who left her money to animals and not her daughter?
Oh.
A woman from Hertfordshire has been awarded £164,000 after a judge made changes to her late mother's will. The deceased Melita Jackson died in 2004, leaving nearly £500,000 to 3 animal charities, the Blue Cross, the RSPB and the RSPCA. And she had actually made it quite clear at the time she didn't want to leave any money to her daughter whatsoever. However, since her death, her daughter Heather Eilott, who lives in Ware, has been fighting to get the will changed, arguing her mother had unreasonably excluded her from the will. And now a judge has decided that Heather's mum Melita did not make reasonable provision for her, and the court has awarded her a payment of £164,000. So my question to you is, was it right for a judge to change the will of a woman who left her money to animals and not her daughter?
That's going to be a good one.
I hope so.
I would. I'd take the money from the RSPB. They're birds. I mean, what do they need really?
Rubbish,
Twigs, isn't it?
sparrows
Need twigs and stuff.
yeah.
But the rest of the money should have gone to the animals.
Dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats. Thank you, Tim.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Okay, well, the show's really cooking now. If you had to... I'm making myself laugh with the genius of this. If you had to melt a record into a bowl, you often see it in arts and crafts shops or can them. Which record would it be? What would you eat from within? Carpet Martin says, Wakefield, Saturday night, filled with a hula hoops cocktail, salt and vinegar and cheese and onion. # Maverick. Also talking about Lord Sewell. Well, he's resigned. I feel sorry for the fella. Morning, Dave. Do you feel sorry for him?
Yeah, I do, actually. What you do in the privacy of your own home is your concern.
And that's the point, isn't it? He's not gone around fiddling with little boys, which we know a lot of other people have done. He's paid 2 women to go and have sex with him. He's snorted something. As someone says, we don't know if it's cocaine. It could be a legal high. And even if it was cocaine, where's the impact on my life?
Exactly, and I bet I can get all your callers on this one.
Go on.
10 years ago, it was illegal to watch a XXX movie in the privacy of your own home. It was actually not allowed. How many people have done that?
Oh, blimey, Dave. Stay there, Dave. I want to bring Sheila. Morning, Sheila.
Good morning.
Do you feel sorry for Lord Sewell?
No.
Well, tell us why not.
Well, I would assume, perhaps I shouldn't, that he's done this before. And also, what would be my thought is the possibility of being blackmailed at dealing with drugs and prostitutes.
So what? So what if he's done it before? How does that impact on your life?
It doesn't on mine too much, but it's impacted on your life.
How?
Hasn't it? Well, because you've got this great conversation going.
Well, yeah, but it's not had... Okay, it's okay. So far, Lord Sewell has only had a positive impact on my life.
Yeah, for you. I don't know about other people, but it would worry me about the fact that maybe something else might come out and then there might be blackmail and he's in a position where he might be able to help other people when he shouldn't be.
Dave, it's an interesting point. I mean, the Profumo affair was all based on blackmail and things like that, wasn't it? And people saying stuff they shouldn't have said.
Exactly, but as I said, what you do in the privacy of your own home, and everybody's done something a little bit naughty in the privacy of their own home and doesn't discuss it. So, I don't really see where the case is.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Dave. Sheila, Dennis is in Dunstable. Dennis, do you feel sorry for Lord Sewell?
Not in the least.
He
deserved what he got.
Well, he paid for what he got.
Doesn't matter what he got. He was an idiot in the first place.
Well, he may have been an idiot, but you can't lose your job for being an idiot unless, of course, you're
in Parliament. You're supposed to be setting an example, and if that's the sort of example he wants to set, God help us.
Why?
Because he's setting an example.
Why? I didn't realise that he was supposed to be a role model.
Of course he is.
Why?
He shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Well, yeah, but listen, what people do in the privacy of their own home. Yes. Everyone's consenting. It's got nothing to do with me.
I know it hasn't. It isn't. But as in this case, he's supposed to be a representative of the people, right?
Right. Well, he's representing. Loads of people do this. He is representing.
He's not representing me, right? Well, so I say he's an idiot. He got caught out twice.
I'm not going to argue with. I'm not going to argue with you calling him an idiot.
No,
okay? He probably is an idiot.
But I
would suggest. Here we go. Lord Sewell is more honourable than the majority of MPs and Lords.
Yes, I quite agree with you.
Then he's being an excellent inspiration.
No, he's not.
He's resigned. How many times do MPs and Lords and people, high-profile figures, saying that high-profile, I'd never heard of him, high-profile figures drag out things, and it wasn't me, Gov, nothing to do with me, Gov. 2 days after this story broke, he's resigned. Well done, fella. I don't think he should have resigned, but what a great inspiration and a great example to set to the to young people.
He was pushed. They made it quite clear to him if you stayed behind, you'd be a nobody. So he's gone.
I don't know what that means, Dennis, but thank you very much indeed. 03459 455 555. I don't see how what he did has any impact on my life whatsoever. There's a text here. Sam says, I have no sympathy for a man who feeds underground sex rings by paying prostitutes. No prostitute wants to have sex. I would dispute that, Sam. Having spoken to, who's that prostitute we spoke, Madam Becky, and other people, I think there are some prostitutes that want to do it. And I'm not in any. They may be in the minority. I don't know. There are lots and lots of women and men who are exploited and who are trafficked and who are forced into sexual labour that they do not wish to undertake. And I'm not condoning that in the slightest. But to say that no prostitute enjoys it, I think is slightly inaccurate. Margaret's in Milton Keynes. Morning, Margaret.
Oh, hello. I think we should give the bloke a medal. I mean, if that's all the dirt they can find on him, he hasn't been fiddling with children, he hasn't murdered anybody, he hasn't fiddled his taxes. I'm sure if he was doing any of that, they would have found that. If that's all the dirt they can find on him, I mean, look at the people he mixes with in Parliament. They probably tried to persuade him to do some right dodgy things. And if that's the only thing they found him to do, give the bloke a medal.
And I'm not for 1 second, Margaret, saying I condone or approve or disapprove of what he did. He did it in the privacy of his own home. Has no impact on my life whatsoever. Couldn't care less. And I feel sorry for him because we've all done, we've all got weird things that get us going. We've all done odd things or things that we wouldn't. Imagine a picture of you, Margaret, on the front page of all the newspapers in an ill-fitting.
Buy it.
Well, I don't know, Margaret. I'm sure you're. But imagine that you walk into your newsagents and you're on the front page of the newspaper in your pants, and you're on daytime television in your pants, and you're in. It's humiliating, isn't it? No one deserves that.
Well, the thing is, where he works, it's a cesspit of corruption, and if that's all he's tainted with. Well, he don't seem such a bad bloke, does he?
Margaret, thank you very much indeed. There we go. Do you feel sorry for Lord Shield? I put forward the idea that actually he's been a bit of a numpty. Really. But what a shining example he set to the youth of today. He got caught. Within 2 days, he put his hands up and went, I'm really sorry, I resign. How many other lords and MPs and public figures and councillors, flipping it, that drag it out for months? 03459 455 555. Glenn's in Woburn. Morning, Glenn.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm all right, Glenn. Thanks to an angry texter who doesn't like us championing autistic children who've been, shafted. We've come up with a genius phone-in. If you had to melt a record into a bowl, what would that record be? And what would you eat from within that bowl?
Well, mine would be all the Adamant singles.
Oh,
so
mate.
I have a set.
Yeah.
And I'd eat hot chili, because I cannot stand any of his music.
Hang on a second. Sorry, mate. It's not a great line. Sorry. For a second, I thought you said you cannot stand any Adamant music, but you couldn't have said that because the guy's a legend. What did you actually say?
I did say that. I don't like Adamant. I've never liked him. So if I had those records, which I haven't, I'd melt them up into dishes, and I'd have a set of 6.
Right. And you said you'd have chili in there. Do you like chili?
I love chili.
Okay. But you don't like Adamant?
No, never have.
How can you? I'm really confused, right? Because he's brilliant. Isn't he?
No. I couldn't stand him. When he used to come on top of the pops, I'd turn the telly off.
You seriously, Glenn, you don't like this?
No, I don't know. I can tell you something else as well.
Hang on a second, hang on, I'm enjoying the vibe, hang on.
Oh, no.
I'm the dandy highwayman! Anyway, I don't know the rest of the words. Yes, Glenn?
I do an 80s show every now and then, and I refuse to play Adam Ant.
Flippin' heck. You're insane. You've got more impact on my life than Lord Sewell. You're the Lord Sewell of 80s radio shows. Nice to talk to you, Glenn. Thank you, mate.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A40 coming into London, a lane blocked by a broken down lorry just after the Medway underpass, so just before the Hoover building towards Hanger Lane. There are long queues back past RAF Northolt. The M25 going anti-clockwise, you'll find that's heavy between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. The M1 going south, that's busy from Luton Airport junction 10 towards 9 at Redbourne. The A1M busy too from the Stevenage junctions 8 to 7, and in Hertford, Gascoigne Way, the A414 slow around the A119. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Tom. I'm laughing because, Scott sent me something funny on Twitter, but yeah, you're right. This is the show, this is the BBC local radio show that has a phone-in element where someone phoned up and said, Lord Sewell should be given a medal. Beat that, LBC.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Lord Sewell has announced he's leaving the House of Lords after the allegations he took drugs with prostitutes. He's apologised for the pain and embarrassment he's caused. An offer has been made to buy a Buckinghamshire special school threatened with closure. Penn School near High Wycombe is set to close at the end of the month and is being run by administrators. And legal experts say the right of people to decide who inherits their money has been significantly weakened by a landmark ruling in the Court of Appeal. The judges awarded a Hertfordshire woman £164,000 from her mother's estate, even though her will had left everything to 3 animal charities.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The pre-season football friendlies continue this evening. Watford make the trip to Wales to play Cardiff. The Hornets added new signing number 10 yesterday, with Dutch winger Steven Berghuis joining from AZ Alkmaar for a fee believed to be around £4 million. Milton Keynes Dons host Spanish side Getafe in their first friendly at Stadium MK, the match dedicated to Chief Scout Andy King, who passed away at the end of May. Luton host Brentford. Still no word from the Hatters on the future of trialist striker Craig McHale-Smith, and Wickham are away to Basingstoke. Elsewhere, Manchester United's record signing Angel Di Maria looks to be edging ever closer to the Old Trafford exit door. He's understood to be close to a big money move to the French champions Paris Saint-Germain after failing to join up with United on their pre-season tour of America. The two sides meet in a friendly in Chicago tomorrow. The BBC's Simon Stone is in the US.
He should have reported. He didn't report. Why he didn't report, we're not exactly sure, but, you know, it seems, impossible to imagine that he will play for Manchester United again, and therefore he will be probably before Paris Saint-Germain go home, because they've got another match in North America at the weekend. He could well be linking up with them.
In Formula One, Renault have described the Milton Keynes Red Bull team as high maintenance. It's part of an ongoing spat between the two about the quality of the engines the French team are supplying. In cricket, England and Australia complete their preparations at Edgbaston today ahead of tomorrow's third Ashes test. England's women lost by 89 runs to Australia in their latest one-day international at Worcester. And racing's Glorious Goodwood gets underway today. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
What did you forget, Simon? You left and then you rushed back. Have you left yourself logged in?
Yeah, just logging off.
Always log off. You know. If anyone leaves a logged-in computer, then their life will be misery, and Wally Webb will be getting internal messages. 03459 455 555. If you had to, If you had to melt a record into a bowl, what record would it be? What would you eat from that bowl? You can text those in as well, 81333, start your text 3CR. And do you feel sorry for Lord Sewell? We've had one caller suggesting we should give him a medal. Give him a medal! We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Here's a sad story, though, we've been discussing all morning. The family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. A coroner found there was a gross failure in the case of Eileen Smith. Eileen's niece, Leslie Dean, and her husband Keith say both doctors and nurses didn't even read a special folder which set out her disability needs. Well, joining me now is the Director of Nursing at the Lister Hospital, Angela Thompson. Morning, Angela. Thanks for joining us.
Morning.
How could people get it so wrong?
Well, that is a good question. We, as an organisation, realised as soon as we got Mrs Dean's complaint letter that something had obviously gone very wrong with the care, and both myself and the medical director, Miss McHugh, made a decision to escalate, rather than do a complaint response, to do a full investigation, which is an independent investigation to the team that were caring for Eileen, and clearly we found gross failings in the care, and that is within our report that we then sent to Mr and Mrs Dean. And a lot of changes have obviously happened, and I would like to take the opportunity again to apologise to Mr and Mrs Dean for those failings in care.
Have you spoken to Mr and Mrs Dean?
I haven't personally spoken to Mr and Mrs Dean. I'm very happy to speak to Mr and Mrs Dean.
Why don't you give them a phone call?
Yeah, I'm very happy to do that.
Give them a phone call after the show and just say, look, because I've had dealings, not as serious as this, but I've had dealings with institutions where we've been let down, vulnerable people have let down, and, just a phone call would have made such a difference.
Well, a lot of staff in the Trust have had personal dealings with Mr and Mrs Dean, and, personally I haven't, but I'm very happy to do so.
I'm sure they'd look forward to that. I'll ask the question again, though. How could it go so horribly wrong?
Well, there are, the report is there. There are clearly a number of issues that were found.
Could you tell them to us? Tell us how it went wrong.
I'm just trying to do that. So there was clearly a lack of escalation by the nursing staff on the observations of that day. And as a consequence of that, not only have we obviously undertaken retraining of all of the staff on that ward, and actions have been taken against various individuals, which obviously can't go further into, but also we have implemented an electronic observations tool which will do an automatic escalation to our critical care outreach team.
I'm going to ask the question again, because maybe I'm being done, Angela. How could it go so hideously wrong? I know you said that the report is out there, but I'm talking to you. How could it go so hideously wrong? And this 69-year-old vulnerable woman with communication problems be allowed to suffer and die like this? How could it go so wrong?
I'm trying to explain what
you're not. With the greatest of respect, you're not. You're telling me what's happened as a result of that. I would like to know how a woman like this could die.
It's, we've investigated and we've held our hands up, and, I totally have acknowledged that there were gross failings in
And what were those gross failings?
Night shift. A failure to escalate the observations on that night shift to a doctor. So they were taking Eileen's observations. She was with them throughout the night, and she was sitting at the nurses' station with them throughout the night. And as Mr and Mrs Dean said earlier, she was a very pleasant lady. She liked socialising and company, and that is what the nursing team found.
Had they read the purple folder, they would have known. Had they read the purple folder, they would have known that her communication skills weren't top notch. Why did they not read? Okay, if you're not going to give me the specifics, I'll come in with the specifics. I'm hoping I wouldn't need to. Why did they not read the purple folder?
Some of the team did read the purple folder. I cannot say whether the actual two individuals who were on that night did read the purple folder. But we as a trust in 2012, we implemented a programme of improvement for patients
which massively failed and allowed a woman to die. Why did they not read? Why did they not read the purple folder?
I can't answer for those two individuals as to why they...
You're the director of nursing. You're the director of nursing. Maybe I'm speaking to the wrong person. Who should I be speaking to that knows the answers then?
I can't answer for two individuals. We have promoted the use of the purple folder throughout this organisation. Okay. We also work very closely with our acute liaison learning disability team, who had come in on the day shift to see Eileen and her carers and the nursing team, and unfortunately Eileen was off the ward at the time, and that should have initiated a combined care plan. And
Okay, why didn't that happen then?
The combined care plan, because the acute learning disability liaison nurses, when they came in, Eileen was off the ward and they didn't come back. That nursing team is employed by social services.
Angela, a very, very, very nice passing of the buck.
I'm not trying to pass.
Well, no, you are. You are. Let's focus on this. We know that the staff didn't read the purple folder. Why didn't they? That seems like a basic to me.
Absolutely, it is a.
Why didn't they read it?
Basic. They should have read it.
Yep. No. Why didn't they?
I can't answer for two individuals.
You're the director of nursing. Have you spoken to these two individuals?
The two individuals no longer work in the trust.
Is that because of this?
It is because of this, yes.
Okay. So you can, but you didn't ask them why they didn't read the purple folder?
It would have been questioned at the appropriate hearing, but I really cannot get into...
No, it's only a vulnerable 69-year-old woman that died. You're right, let's not get too specific. The staff bleeped the wrong number.
Yes, they did. And we have put in place a new electronic rotor watch so that it is very clear what number out of hours to bleep.
How did they? Well, you're saying it was already clear. How could they bleep the wrong number?
They used a day bleep instead of the out of hours bleep number. And they should have escalated. So when
no one responded when they bleeped the wrong number, so they just thought, well, never mind.
Absolutely, and that's why they no longer work in the organisation.
Okay. Junior nurses made incorrect notes, which were misleading.
There was one retrospective amendment, and you can make retrospective amendments, and that's in the Nursing Midwifery Council guidance. But what the nurse should have done, and she held her hand up to this at the inquest, what she should have done is said it was a retrospective amendment, and she didn't. She just amended a note or made an addition to the note, which she should have put written in retrospect against, and she didn't, and she has acknowledged
Well, as long as she's put her hand up, it doesn't matter about an old woman dying, does it?
It wasn't. I don't think you'll find a consequence or a cause of death.
No, but the other events were. The death was avoidable, wasn't it? If there hadn't been such a massive cock up.
What our investigation found, and what the coroner found, is that there is a possibility that the death was avoidable.
Gosh.
It's very difficult to say.
Yeah, of course.
That a death.
Yeah, of course. But there was a possibility the death could have been avoided. That's awful, isn't it? That's awful. We go to hospital and we send our vulnerable relatives, elderly and young, and people with communication problems when they're at their weakest and the most vulnerable, and we hope they'll be looked after. And yet there is a series of cock-ups and mistakes that possibly led to a 69-year-old woman's death.
Absolutely, and the Trust have acknowledged that, and we have a large programme of work because this is a fundamentally about basic care, and it is basic care that we want to get right. But what I don't want is for patients out there with a learning disability or any other patient to be worried about coming into this hospital as a consequence of this interview. We have put in place a lot of changes.
Well, hang on a second. They won't be... No, I'm not letting you have that one. They won't be worried about putting vulnerable patients into hospital because of this interview. If they are worried, it will be because a 69-year-old vulnerable patient died, and there is a possibility that death could have been avoided if the staff at your hospital had followed the correct procedure.
Absolutely.
So please don't blame this interview for making people anxious. It's the death of Eileen Smith, and let's use her name. It's her death that might make people a little bit nervous.
And that's what I'm trying to say, though, is that the Trust have put in place a number of changes that have radically changed systems and processes to stop a number of those things that went wrong for Eileen to not go wrong in the future.
Why was it so hard for the family to pursue this with the coroner?
The coroner had information about Eileen's death and had made an initial decision that there would not be an inquest. When we do an investigation report, as we did when we got the complaint letter, that is usually shared with the coroner. But in this case, the coroner had already made a decision not to undertake an
Well, the
inquest.
hospital wasn't willing to assist and didn't forward the serious case review to the coroner.
We weren't asked to, we would very happily have done that. But
Well,
I'm
surely it's
very
just... Oh,
happy
come
to
on
look at
now. Surely it's
processes.
just a matter of course, Angela. Leslie Dean, who's mourning her aunt, has had to do all the running around herself.
We will review our processes, and
And
I would
I really
agree
hope
with
lessons
you.
will be learnt.
A lot of lessons have been.
I bet they have. Isn't it a shame it takes the death of a woman for lessons to be learnt, Angela? You really... I don't understand why you don't just come on and say, do you know what? We completely ballsed up, and there is a possibility that woman would still be alive if we had done things properly. I'm just hearing a lot of fudging.
I think I have acknowledged that. I said at the beginning of this that we did an investigation which found gross failures of nursing care. That is an acknowledgement that there were gross failings in the care of Eileen Smith, which I am very happy to hold my hand up to, but it's not just good enough to say that, is it? Because we have to make changes to make sure that doesn't happen again, and we minimise the risks of that ever
Are you confident that Are you confident that these mistakes, either as a whole or individually, won't happen again? Because it's basic stuff. It's really basic stuff, isn't it?
It was basic stuff.
So are you happy that it won't happen again?
I am very confident that we will continue as an organisation and a nursing body in this hospital to do absolutely everything in our power to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
And you're going to be speaking to the family later on, are you?
I'm very happy to speak to Mr. and Mrs. Dean, yes.
OK, so you'll be giving them a call, will you?
Yes.
OK, Angela, thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's Director of Nursing at the Lister Hospital, Angela Thompson. It's 8:45. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's still a broken down lorry blocking the inside lane just coming into London at the Medway underpass on the A40. It's busy from the Sweckley's roundabout at Uxbridge. Long queues back past RAF Northolt. The M25 anti-clockwise heavy between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. If you're heading down the M1, that's busy between Luton Airport, junction 10 and 9 for Redbourne. The A1M also busy around Stevenage, junctions 8 to 7. In Watford, busy on Exchange Road, around Upton Road and on Stevenson Way, heading out of town towards the motorway at junction 5. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tom, thank you very much indeed. I know what I want. I want a bell. I want a ding, ding, ding. You know the bells you get in hotels, and it's gonna. I had this once at another place for one show. I want a cliche bell. So every time someone says lessons have been learnt, ding. In fact, I'm gonna go onto the what do they call it? The internet. And I'm gonna treat myself to one as long as it's under a £5. Where are we now? 8:46. It's Tuesday, the 28th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Lord Sewell has announced he's leaving the House of Lords after the allegations he took drugs with prostitutes. An offer has been made to buy Penn's special school in Buckinghamshire, which is set to close on Friday, and the family of a woman with learning disabilities who died at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage say her death was avoidable. Let's get the weather. Here's Sarah.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I hope you won't ding that bell when we do the weather, because we get the odd cliche in.
Ding dong.
Very good. We've got some sunny spells across the three counties at the minute. The temperature's currently at 15 Celsius. We are likely to stay dry today with sunny spells. It's a little cool for the time of year, it's true, with a fairly brisk westerly wind, but with the good sunny spells, if you can get in the shelter of the wind and feel the sunshine, it shouldn't be too bad for you. 18, 19 Celsius, 66 in Fahrenheit. Tomorrow we start dry, sunny spells through the first half of the day, and then we'll continue with sunny spells in the second half of the afternoon, but also there will be some scattered showers. They're being driven towards us on fairly brisk northwesterly winds, and they will make it feel a little bit cooler again tomorrow, 16 or 17 Celsius. But from Thursday, pressure building across the south and west of the UK makes it dry, settled and fine right the way through until Saturday afternoon. We might pick up some showers late on Saturday, but before that, temperatures rising up to 19 degrees with a light southerly wind developing, so fairly settled for the next few days, Iain.
Hey, guess what, Sarah?
What?
You go to like the internet. I've only just found this thing. It's brilliant. The internet.
Yes.
And I've just gone onto his website. And I've typed in bell. Right.
Yes.
I can get one for a penny.
Oh my word! Plus postage.
Oh, nuts!
Get more from BBC Three Counties Radio online by liking our Facebook page.
Take part in our conversation.
Including what we talk about every afternoon. Well, it's kind of how most taxes work. So most taxes work that,
Touch my bell,
on the first bit you pay no tax,
conversation.
on the next bit you pay basic rate tax, on the next bit you pay 40%, then 45%.
See pictures and videos you won't get anywhere else.
What we're going to do today is take you around for a lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, all 3.66 miles, which will be used for this year's British Grand Prix.
Get more from BBC Three Counties Radio online by liking our Facebook page at facebook.com/BBC3CR.
Okay, I want one that is prime so I can get it for tomorrow. Talking about Lord Sewell, I feel sorry for him. I think he's an inspiration in as much as I'm not condoning his drug and sexual behaviour. There's no impact on my life whatsoever. In fact, the last 10 minutes of the show, some people are very angry about what Lord Sewell did. Why? Can you tell me the impact it has on you or me? 03459 455 555. Jan's on the line. Jan, do you feel sorry for Lord Sewell?
No, I don't.
Tell me why.
He's in the House of Lords. One of the functions of the House of Lords is to pass bills on things like drugs, prostitution, and he's condoning every part of that. So, and it just makes you wonder how many other people of his ilk are using this kind of recreational drug.
Yeah. Well, loads of people are.
Yeah, I know, but he's
prostitution isn't illegal. So that's that doesn't fit into your argument. So it's just the drugs, and we don't know if it was an illegal drug.
Well, the chances are he's actually resigned.
Yeah, I know.
So why did he resign? Did he resign because the
what an honourable thing to do.
I don't think so at all.
To resign? You don't think resigning is honourable? I think that should be held up as inspiration.
Took him 2 days.
I know, only 2 days. Some of these people
should have done it straight
Some of
away.
these people will drag this out for weeks and weeks.
Oh, I know, because they're getting paid. But I mean, he's probably got more money than what he needs anyway.
Oh, Jan! It's jealousy. It's jealousy.
No.
What does
he didn't have to wait for 2 weeks, did he?
2 days.
Quite comfortable.
What's the amount of money he's got in his bank account got to do with anything?
It's not the amount of money he's got in his bank account.
But you brought it up.
Maybe counts.
You brought the amount of money up. So what's that got to do with anything? Why did you bring that up?
Because you said that he was honourable doing it in 2 days.
Yeah.
And most people hang it out, or most people would hang it out because they're still getting paid, like councillors, MPs.
Yeah.
And they would lose money by it, but he probably had enough money that he wouldn't lose money.
Oh, okay. So he could afford to lose his job. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not really a job, is it? Sitting there sleeping in the House of Parliament.
Jan! It's number 2! And do you know what I'm hearing? And it's not even reading between the lines. You're saying it. It may or may not be a job. I don't know. I don't know how much work they do. I don't know what they get up to in the House of Lords. But it's just a bit of jealousy, isn't it, Jan? You're just jealous,
No,
and
I
you're
don't
glad.
think so.
You're glad that
I'm
this
quite happy with my
guy.
life.
You're glad that this guy who does a job that you don't think is actually a job and gets paid more than you think he should get paid. You're glad he got caught with his pants down.
I think it's his own fault. If you entertain people like that in your house, you can't trust them, can you?
But it's his own decision. What impact does, and we don't know it was cocaine, let's assume it was for a second, but we don't know. It could have been a legal high. What impact does a 69-year-old, yeah, I know he's 69-year-old man.
Is that how old he is?
Yeah. What impact does him taking drugs and paying for sex, what impact does that have on your life, Jan?
It doesn't have any impact on my life.
Exactly.
I think he's a responsible person.
Well, he's proved that by stepping down.
Decisions about things in our country.
And he's shown that he can make decisions quickly by standing down.
Okay, I'll give you that then.
Thank you, Jan. You see, I'm talking sense. Colin, morning, Colin.
Ding.
Sorry?
Ding. I know where there's one, and it might be for sale.
Pourquoi and là? French and Greek.
It's at the YMCA shop in Dunstable.
There's one for sale there?
Well, we've been using it, but I think it came in as a donation.
Oh!
So,
hang on a minute. Colin, who is a volunteer at a charity shop, you use the donations and you don't sell them up. This is a bigger scandal than Sewell.
Yeah.
Colin is Dunstable's own Sewell.
No, it's just been on the counter for a while.
Well,
but if you
have you heard
meet
this,
me
Justin?
over there at about 9:10,
What? Yeah.
I'll see if I can negotiate.
Okay. How much?
A good deal for you.
How much are you going to sell this bell for? Bearing in mind, it's like the one you get in hotels, yeah. When you okay.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, they're a penny on the computer. £2.20 with postage on the computer net.
I don't know. It'll be up to my boss.
Well, the thing is, I don't want to walk out to the YMCA.
No, she's not. It'll be $1.99 or something like that.
And is it what colour is it? Is it silver or bronze?
Oh, blimey! I think it's silver with a black base.
Need to be a bit more specific, really, if we're going to be interested.
Justin, would you accompany me to the YMCA? Because I don't want to just turn up, because Colin sounds a bit of a geezer, a bit tasty. I just don't want to turn up.
Is this the same Colin that said, "Oh, when you move to Dunstable, I'll take you round the town, guys. I'll do that." Where are you, big man Cole?
No,
Where are you?
But I've got to go to Luton, you see. So I'll be passing.
We will see you at 9:10, Colin. We'll be the tough-looking geezers ready to make a deal. All right.
All right, mate. I'll see you in a little while.
Tutty bye, tutty bye. Let me just thank you. I know you've got an important thing to talk about in a second, Justin.
Well,
before
it's not
that,
really important, but yeah.
Well, no. Ben's in Wickham. Morning, Ben.
You'll have to go like the clappers. Sorry, morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm too old to go like the clappers. That's why I'm taking Justin. He's going to give me a piggyback.
Oh, bless him.
Do you feel sorry for Lord Sewell?
Not particularly.
Oh.
I just think he's bloody foolish. That a bit like the case of Prince Harry. Just make certain that there's no cameras around if you're going to do things like this.
That's the thing, isn't it? Make sure there are no cameras. He can accuse of being an idiot. He can be accused of cheating on his wife. But the fact that he within 2 days, he stepped down and said, do you know what, guys? What he says in the statement is, I'm paraphrasing slightly, I apologise for any damage I caused, and I apologise for bringing disrepute to this profession that I love so much. Boom!
Fair play.
That is amazing to say that.
Yeah, I agree with that, but he should never have put himself in that position in the first place. No matter where he did it or how he did it, he shouldn't have been doing it in front of cameras.
Ben, that's it. He shouldn't have been doing it in front of cameras. Ben, you've got to you're hungry. You've got some food. You've got nothing to eat it in. You've got to melt down one of your 7-inch records. Come on, which record is it going to be, and what food are you going to plop in there?
The Lord's Prayer by Mario Lanza.
Oh, beautiful, classic.
And I'll have some red wine and a bit of bread to dunk.
There we go. Bit of class and spiritual.
Well done.
Very spiritual. Lovely. Very spiritual. I've often said this show is spiritual, Justin, and Ben has proven that. Thank you, Ben. We came up with this, and this is a brilliant idea, because someone was bored of us talking about autistic kids that are getting shafted because their school's being closed down and it's all a little bit murky. So, to compensate for that, we've come up with this brilliant topic. You've got to melt down a record. Which record is it going to be? And melt it into a bowl.
Yeah.
What are you going to put in that bowl? What are you going to eat?
I said earlier on, the New Beats, bread and butter. Great track. I would put my
Great food.
Yeah, I would put my bread and butter in that bowl.
Bread and butter. And when it's bread and butter, it's got to be cheap margarine.
Yeah,
White bread, cheap margarine.
Absolutely. Bang on the money. I've taken this one to the streets. Sadly, people didn't really get it.
Oh, for crying
They didn't
out.
really get it, but I think it's quite funny because they don't really get it. Take a listen. Have you got a record bowl?
What's that?
You know, where you melt down the vinyl into a bowl.
No, I don't understand that.
Okay. It's getting a bit tense. Shall I leave it?
Yeah.
Sir, if you could melt any record into a bowl, what would it be?
Dear me, that's a question, isn't it?
It is a question.
I'm
asking.
I think it would have to be one of the Beatles.
And what would you eat from it?
What would I eat from it? Chips.
So hang on, you would give away a valuable Beatles LP and you'd eat chips out of it?
Got a weird sense of humour, that's all.
Yeah. I'm glad that you've admitted you're weird. Thanks, sir.
They're worth a lot of money anyway.
Yeah, thanks, sir. If you could melt any record into a bowl, what would it be?
Don't know.
Thanks for your time. If you could melt any record into a bowl, what would the record be?
I Will Survive.
Okay, and what would you eat from the bowl?
Fruit, I think. Pineapple.
When you're eating a pineapple, does it make you feel alive as a human being?
No.
Make you feel tropical?
No.
How does it make you feel?
Well, just enjoy it, so I eat it.
I flippin' hate pineapple. And I tell you why I hate pineapple. It's sneaky. My mouth is now... I'm salivating because she's mentioned a pineapple.
I can't have pineapple. I get little spots on my tongue.
I'm going to move on from that. Do you want to go to a charity shop and meet a potential pervert?
Why not?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Long delays into London on the A40 after a broken down lorry blocking a lane at the Medway underpass. It's busy. Long queues back past RAF Northolt. The M25 anti-clockwise still heavy from junction 17 for Maple Cross around to 16 for the M40. You'll find the A1M slows right down around the Stevenage junctions 8 to 7, and in Cheshunt on the A10 coming south it's slow between College Road and the M25 at Enfield. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tom, thank you very much. Thank you to all the guests there. We had some tough interviews, and everybody took the grilling well. Well, nearly everybody. Lots of calls as well. We like that, please. More calls. Don't forget you can download 2 podcasts from last week. The best of, and also there's a Penn School special as well. And for those going, it's boring, have a listen to that, and you'll see why it's quite so important. What are you doing in my studio? Oh, for goodness sake, slackers.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Ian. It's the JVS show. Tim Wheeler standing in for Jonathan Vernon Smith. At 9 o'clock, it's one of the most read stories online. It's a local story. It's my big phone-in. Was it right for a judge to change the will of a woman who left her money to animals and not her daughter? A woman from Hertfordshire has been awarded £164,000 after a judge made changes to her late mother's will. The deceased, Melita Jackson, died in 2004, leaving nearly £500,000 to 3 animal charities, and she made it quite clear she didn't want to leave any money to her daughter at all. However, since her death, her daughter Heather Eilott, who lives in Ware, has been fighting to get the will changed, arguing her mother had unreasonably excluded her from the will. Well, now a judge has decided Heather's mum Melita did not make reasonable provision for her, and the court has awarded her a payment of £164,000. Well, I want to hear from you this morning. Was it right for a judge to change the will of a woman who left her money to animals and not her daughter? You can call me on 03459 455 555, and of course get your text into 81333, starting your message with 3CR.
This is the JVS show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
And I'll be taking your calls after the news at 9 with Simon Oxley.
The headlines: Lord Sewell resigns, offer made for Buckinghamshire Special School, and Hertfordshire woman successfully challenges mother's will.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Lord Sewell has announced he's leaving the House of Lords after the allegations he took drugs with prostitutes. He's apologised for the pain and embarrassment he's caused. Robin Brandt at Westminster has more details of his resignation letter.
The question of whether my behaviour breached the code is important, but essentially technical. He goes on to say that the bigger questions as to whether his behaviour is compatible with membership of the Lords is something that he believes could undermine public confidence in this institution here.
An offer has been made to buy a Buckinghamshire Special School threatened with closure. Penn School near High Wycombe is set to close at the end of the month and is being run by administrators. Parents